the door, I'm home at last, and I'm soaking through and through. And then you handed me a towel, and all I see is you. And even if my house falls down now, I wouldn't have a clue, because you're near me. And I want to thank you for giving me the best day of my life. And just to be with you is having the best day of my life.
This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tona Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Wednesday, August 14, 2024. Health Ministry reports a 16% rise in COVID-19 cases. The OUR says JPS will be subject to formal inquiry on post-burial electricity restoration. MOCA says 2 men arrested in Cherry Tree Lane on Monday were on their way to carry out a reprisal. In regional news, Caribbean Airlines to introduce flights to the British Virgin Islands. In international news, U.S. says it is aiming to dial things down in the Middle East amid rising tension. In sports, Jamaica's under-17 set to tackle Barbados in the West Indies Rising Stars 2-day cricket competition. And in business, Sagicor Bank reintroduces a prepaid card solution after 2-year break. The details after the break.
The best Burger King with the best tasting burger under the sun. You deserve the best, you are number one. Best. Flame grilling, juicy whopper, cause you deserve it. Yeah, next level, awesome, that's how we serve it. Mama menu done your way, got the taste rules every day. Flame grilled goodness, you deserve it. Great taste, well done. More flavor, fresh Burger King, best tasting burger under the sun.
Catch the first news of the day, a comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is calling on Jamaicans to take the necessary precautions to avoid contracting COVID-19. The ministry has warned that there's been an increase in the COVID-19 transmission rate. There was a 16% rise in cases recorded in July.
It is happening. It's not unique to Jamaica. There are different reasons advanced. I think the conditions for spread may be based on environmental factors is maybe one thing. The mutation of the virus another. We did say in the late stages, after we declared the end of the pandemic, that COVID was not going to go away. It was going to ultimately become similar to the common flu, which can lead to pneumonia, or it can be easily treatable. And I suspect we're getting some of that. It's important to continue to monitor.
Despite his warning, Dr. Tufton says Jamaicans should not panic.
Unfortunately, we have had, I think, 8 deaths since January associated with COVID or complications from COVID, and therefore the vast majority of persons who have been affected have been able to be treated and gone home. So, it's important to highlight it, but not to cause panic or not to get people to feel like, they can't go about their normal lives, as long as they take the precaution and if they have symptoms, seek remedy from a doctor.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. He was speaking Tuesday evening on Nationwide at 5. Meanwhile, Dr. Tufton says immunization remained an important part of Jamaica's COVID response.
Immunization for us is extremely important. We have a history of immunizing our population against certain things, which to my mind has done a lot of positive for us. COVID vaccines, we still maintain, have served us well to the extent that persons have taken those vaccines. We have had, however, other means of securing the population, despite the low take-up, and a number of other variables we have done well as a country, mortality rates and so on. I think we have a very efficient primary healthcare system where we visit homes, we provide information, we give guidance, the health centers that are networked. We think it's a very important tool, and we will continue to say so, and hopefully to encourage Jamaicans to see this as a very important part of the COVID response.
Dr. Tufton says Jamaica has enough ventilators to deal with the rise in COVID cases.
Yes, we have ventilators. I think we have spoken about that, and have benefited a lot from the COVID experience by expanding capacity. We have COVID wards that are still in effect. Sometimes they are used for different reasons. Up at UWI, for example, there's a ward that was built right beside the accident and emergency. St. Joseph's Hospital, Falmouth Hospital, and I could go on. The ones that had the temporary structure, the tent, like at Spanish Town, that was dismantled recently, partly because of the rains that came. Spanish Town, I think, was also affected. I'm not sure if they have put that back together, but the more permanent ones, Sub Hospital and others, have either been converted to regular ward space, and if possible, could be reconverted if necessary. Let's hope it's not. As of now, it's not.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. Now, the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, says the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, will be subject to a formal inquiry once power is restored to all customers across the island affected by the passage of Hurricane Beryl. The OUR met with the JPS on Tuesday to hear whether the company met the August 12 deadline for the restoration of electricity to customers. Shalois Michael reports.
The OUR had directed JPS to fully restore electricity to customers across the country by August 12, except those in St. Elizabeth. Customers in that parish have a restoration date of August 31. Director General of the OUR, Ansad Hewitt, says the JPS provided a breakdown of the more than 10,000 customers still without power across the country, including St. Elizabeth at Tuesday's meeting.
They gave us detailed report on what they have done in the rest of the country, save for St. Elizabeth, where they still have 10,000 customers out. They gave us data, which of course we have to some extent check and verify, of the customers who were out in other instances where there are specific circumstances preventing restoration. Things like they're just impossible, they can't get to them, access issue with bridges, swamplands, and in some instances they have to reroute lines and they need to secure easement. So for the most part, those would have been a couple of hundred customers.
Mr. Hewitt says a formal inquiry will be conducted once the dust has settled on the company's restoration efforts.
We indicated to JPS as well that there will have to be some kind of formal inquiry after the dust has settled on the restoration to see how it was conducted, what were the factors that were at play, the lessons that we will learn, whether there are issues of culpability and so on. So we will do that, but that has to be undertaken at a time when we have got the restoration over the way and we can actually look at the matter in an objective way, without too much of the emotions that are riding high at the moment, without getting in the way of the restoration effort, which is what is critical.
Mr. Hewitt says there are some concerns on whether JPS will fulfill its restoration promise to St. Elizabeth by the end of the month. Under the OUR Act, JPS could attract a $2 million fine if the company fails to fully restore power by a specified timeline. But Mr. Hewitt says there is still time.
We still have to analyze, we still have to verify that what they have indicated in terms of the rest of the island is correct. That's one thing. Two, we still have to examine the reasons they have given for the timeline they are taking to restore St. Elizabeth. At this point, we don't have enough in front of us to say, well, we need to take further action. So we'll continue to look at that.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Director of Corporate Communications at JPS, Winsome Callum, says the utility company will be providing a comprehensive report on its restoration efforts to Energy Minister Darrell Vaz.
JPS is providing a detailed report to both the OUR and our Minister of Energy to highlight the challenges that we have encountered, as well as the communities that have been restored and those that have not been restored. So that detailed report was actually sent to the OUR already, and we will be providing the Minister with the detailed report that he is asked for. He was updated by our CEO on the progress that we made, and he will be provided with a detailed report.
Minister Vaz requested an update from the utility company in light of news that more than 10,000 JPS customers remain without power. JPS has noted that excluding St. Elizabeth, restoration efforts have been stalled in Westmoreland, Manchester, and rural St. Andrew due to accessibility issues. Ms. Callum says there are about 200 customers still without power in those parishes.
We're looking at about 10,600 persons who remain without supply. Of this 10,600, approximately 10,400 are in the parish of St. Elizabeth.
Winsome Callum, Director of Corporate Communications at JPS. It appears that two men who were arrested in relation to a gun seizure on Monday in Cherry Tree Lane, Four Paths in Clarendon, were on their way to carry out a reprisal. That's according to Director of Communications at the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency MOCA, Major Basil Jarrett. The two men are 24-year-old Devontae Jackson, a construction worker of Cherry Tree Lane, and 22-year-old Rick Edwards, a farmer of Lawson Boulevard, Four Paths. They are charged with being in possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition. Robian Williams reports.
Devontae Jackson and Rick Edwards were accosted by lawmen who were patrolling Cherry Tree Lane following Sunday night's mass murder. Speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday, Major Basil Jarrett stated that the threat of reprisal attacks remain in the community.
Those two persons who were detained and charged were intent, it appears, on carrying out another reprisal attack in the community in the heat of the moment. It was the very alert JDF patrol that was working in the area that came upon the men and were able to put them in. The threat has not passed. The threat is still there. When you look at the genesis of this conflict, you realize that it's going months back and it could very well still be very well alive, and it's not necessarily limited to Clarendon. So it's very important that we all remain vigilant. If you see strange faces in your community, say something. If you see activity that looks suspicious, say something, because you never know when this sort of crime might wash up on your own doorsteps.
Major Jarrett says a comprehensive joint security operation has been launched, led by the Jamaica Constabulary Force in collaboration with the Jamaica Defence Force and MOCA in response to Sunday's brutal killings. He says the operation is part of a coordinated effort to restore security and normalcy to the community and bring the perpetrators to justice. Major Jarrett notes that the support of residents is paramount to prevent any further escalation of violence.
MOCA is bringing our intelligence and our investigative and our cyber capabilities to the fight. The JDF I've seen the JDF contingent here on the ground. It's also a very serious signal of intent. I know that the police officers here have been in the community. They've been talking to residents and they've been doing really good investigative work so far. The missing piece of the puzzle, though, if you ask me, is the community support. A crime like this doesn't happen in such a small community without someone knowing about it. And I think what we really need, instead of always simply looking to the security forces, I think persons really need to be looking to themselves to see how can we be a part of the solution. We've provided ample avenues for persons to make confidential and anonymous reports to the police, and we do get them from time to time, but I don't think Jamaica has grasped the severity of the situation and everyone has committed to playing their part.
Meanwhile, Major Jarrett is urging anyone with information related to the incident to come forward and share what they know.
There's the 888 MOCA tip, which we launched some time ago, and then there's Crime Stop. Crime Stop has been around since 1989. They've never had a source compromise, not one. I don't know what other indication of trust you can have when our number one tip line reporting body can say that in 30-odd years. They've never had a compromise. And so we're appealing to the public to give the security forces the support. I want to see the end of this. It's disheartening when we see what is happening in Jamaica. I saw a headline on Monday, mass murder. This is where we are now. We really need to take back this country. People need to find their values. We need to go back to basics, principles, right and wrong.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the government will be reviewing legislation to further strengthen penalties for firearm offences. His comments follow Sunday night's horrific gun attack in Cherry Tree Lane, 4 Paths in Clarendon. Under the Firearms Act, which was passed in 2022, people who are convicted for possession of a prohibited weapon face a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison.
To take a look at all the legislation we have, that we need to strengthen the legislation further beyond what we have done with the Firearms Act. We will initiate that and give the advice as soon as we have settled on that. Crimes are accepted, but we will examine all of this because using automatic weapons to fire on innocent citizens is an act of terror, and it frightens the community. And when you get mass murder of this level, it is of course troubling to all of us and to all Jamaicans. The ministry and the government takes this very seriously and will take every step within current legislation and whatever is at our disposal within the security forces to protect citizens, prevent reprisal, apprehend and disrupt the gangs.
Dr. Horace Chang, a National Security Minister. He was speaking during a visit to Cherry Tree Lane in Clarendon on Monday. The NCB Financial Group, NCBFG, is to recommend consideration for dividends to be paid out at its next board meeting. The recommendation follows the release of unaudited financial results for the 9 months ended June 30 this year. The report shows a 12% increase in operating income when compared to June 2023. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The 12% increase in operating income to $94 billion represents an increase of nearly $10 billion. The group also reported interim unaudited consolidated net profit in excess of $21 billion for the period. That's a considerable improvement of $9.3 billion over the previous reporting period. Consolidated net profit attributable to stakeholders was $13.7 billion. That's a 61% increase, or $5.2 billion. 4 of the 7 companies' operating segments showed improvements over the period. Net revenue from banking and investment activities declined by 4%, or $2.3 billion. Investment securities increased by 3%, or $32 billion. Customer deposits also grew by 4%, or $30 billion, compared to a similar period in 2023. NCBFG says these results for the 9 months have demonstrated the output from efforts to optimize efficiency and cost. Due to the strong performance, recommendation for dividends to be paid out is to be considered by the Board of Directors during a meeting to be held on Friday. The push is in line with a call from Chairman of NCBFG, Michael Lee Chin, who undertook a major shakeup of the organization last year. This comprised parting ways with several high-ranking executives, including former CEO Patrick Hilton and his deputy Dennis Cohen. Both men officially resigned in November of 2023. Mr. Lee Chin expressed concerns in 2023 regarding the company's efficiency and lack of dividends being paid out for nearly 3 years at that point in time. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Music users, a license from JCAP is a must for the use of music for entertainment purposes. Respect the music, respect the creators, play by the rules. The time by Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors and Publishers Limited is
6:18.
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills. Fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news, Caribbean Airlines has announced the launch of a new route to Tortola, British Virgin Islands, scheduled for October 14. Flights will operate 4 times weekly out of the airline's base in Trinidad and Tobago, connecting destinations including Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, and San Juan in Puerto Rico. In a press release, the airline said the expansion is part of its strategic plan to better connect the Caribbean region and bolster the region's economic development. CEO of Caribbean Airlines, Garvin Madera, says the airline is set to open routes that link the Spanish, French, Dutch, and English-speaking Caribbean by the end of 2024. Tickets for the new route to Tortola have been available for purchase since August 12. International news, the United States is aiming to dial down the temperature in the Middle East amid fears of a retaliatory attack on Israel by Iran. That's according to the country's ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield. On Tuesday, she told the UN Security Council in New York the U.S. wanted to deter and defend against any future attack and avoid regional conflict. There are fears Iran could retaliate against Israel following July's assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, something Israel has not said it was behind. U.S. President Joe Biden suggested reaching a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas in Gaza that could help deter Iran from launching an attack on Israel. A new round of ceasefire talks is scheduled to take place in either Doha or Cairo on Thursday. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
It hurts if you don't check bird. The excellent customer service. Our staff is knowledgeable and trustworthy. And we have a wide variety to supply society. And the price is right, yes, it's worth it. The solution to your auto parts needs the one-stop shop. And we deliver too, so if you can't come in, just link with on WhatsApp or call and make your order. And remember, there's no other. So it hurts if you don't check bird. So there's no need to search. It hurts if you don't check bird.
At Design Privacy, we value relationships. Join our exclusive open DPO community and interact with privacy professionals. Share ideas, insightful challenges, and build career-boosting connections with expert advice at your fingertips. Get access to specialized tools, exclusive workshops, and case studies. Enjoy unparalleled networking. Join Design Privacy's open DPO community to expand your expertise and excel in your career. Visit opendpocommunity.com today and take your data privacy skills to the next level.
Live exquisite this year with new arrival black and chrome fixtures for your home at Unique Living. Select from a wide variety of rain shower systems, fabulous faucets, and stylish sinks to suit your kitchen and bathrooms. Get uncompromised quality and style unique to you. Shop everything new at Unique Living, Jamaica's leading shower and faucets provider. Visit shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call 876-755-3661 to 2.
Time now for your morning sports. Jamaica's under-17s will face Barbados in the West Indies Rising Stars two-day competition at the National Cricket Centre in Trinidad and Tobago starting today. Over at Inshan Ali Park, Trinidad and Tobago play Guyana. And Windward Islands locks horns with Leeward Islands at Gilbert Park in California. Organizer of the Grenell's Road Safety 5K road race, Alfonso Grenell, says he is hoping to raise $3 million from the event. The annual road race is set for August 17, starting at 6 p.m.
It actually starts on Palmwell Avenue, the road run adjacent to Mona Road, and we go from there towards Garden Boulevard. Because the entire race will take place in Mona, and it's deliberate. We trying our best to minimize the interface between people and vehicles. It's a road safety 5K, so we're trying to minimize the number of likely incidents from motor vehicles.
Grenell says the race also brings into focus financial and social cost of road accidents.
What we hear most times in the news report is how many persons have died, but nobody tends to try and find out, what about that gentleman that was paralyzed from neck down, from waist down? What about that family that is now suffering severe hardship because the breadwinner have just died in a motor vehicle crash? The impact also messes with our medical institution. It costs the government for emergency care approximately $4 billion every year. If normally the injury is almost 4 times the number of people who are killed in motor vehicle crashes.
Alfonso Grenell. Finally, in your morning sports, head coach of the National Powerlifting Association of Jamaica, Jeremy Owen, says Anna K. Brown and Bruce Higgins were the big achievers at the recent North American Regional Championships held in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Anna K. Brown, who just started powerlifting a few months ago as a junior, to get 4 bronze medals was a very pleasant surprise, and her future is very bright, and we expect her to be a champion at the junior level and in the open level. And also Bruce Higgins, who went up against persons the likes of Ray Williams, legends in the sport. The 120 plus kg is the heaviest weight class for men, and for him to get a bronze medal, his first international outing, those two, I wouldn't say were surprises, but they probably gave the most satisfaction in terms of it is a great temperature gauge where the program is and where it can go.
Jeremy Owen wrapping up your morning sports.
At Design Privacy, we value relationships. Join our exclusive open DPO community and interact with privacy professionals. Share ideas, insightful challenges, and build career-boosting connections with expert advice at your fingertips. Get access to specialized tools, exclusive workshops, and case studies. Enjoy unparalleled networking. Join Design Privacy's open DPO community to expand your expertise and excel in your career. Visit opendpocommunity.com today and take your data privacy skills to the next level.
In business this morning, Sagicor Bank has reintroduced a prepaid card solution to the market under the name Sagicor Bank Preferred Prepaid MasterCard. The bank says the Preferred Prepaid MasterCard provides clients with simple and efficient ways to load and spend money, enhancing Sagicor's financial services by making money management more convenient and accessible. Sagicor says its features and benefits include global acceptance, enhanced security features, convenient online management, contactless payments, and easier ways to receive remittances. Sagicor Bank's Preferred Prepaid MasterCard can be used for withdrawals at any ATM bearing the Ceres logo, both locally and internationally wherever MasterCard is accepted. It can also be used at any point of sale that accepts MasterCard and for online shopping. The Sagicor Bank Preferred Prepaid MasterCard also supports online bill payments and utilizes chip and PIN technology to provide convenience and security when completing daily transactions. Official figures show the UK's inflation rate has risen for the first time this year. Overall prices rose by 2.2% in the year to July. According to BBC reports, this was slightly above the Bank of England's target of 2%, where the rate had been since May. A rise was widely predicted and is due to prices of gas and electricity falling by less than they did a year before. The increase is also less than many economists had expected. The latest figures mean that prices are now rising faster across the UK than in previous months, but still at a slower pace than in 2022 and 2023, when households were hit especially hard by higher energy and food bills. Finally now, in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar has lost 10 cents and will open trading today, selling for an average $157.77 against the benchmark US dollar. The Jamaican dollar has lost 84 cents and will open trading this morning, selling for an average $115.27 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican has also lost $3.76 and will open trading this morning, selling for an average $202.98 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:30.
When last you get good bun, you don't know good bun until you have a mother's bakery bun. From you pull open the wrapper and it's soft so till. A so bun for nice. And from when you take the first bite, love it so till. A so bun for nice. Beg your piece.
Get your own mother's bakery bun.
I will buy one off you.
Yes, but I will charge a convenience fee.
I will take one.
Me too.
Mother's bakery buns. A so bun for nice. Try them today.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Together we're a people standing strong. 3 million Jamaicans, let's work as one. Such a course said work with a plan. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. Every Jamaican have the heart of a champion. Such a core, big up with champions. Watch my style, watch my skill, watch my flow. Standing out anywhere where we go. Many goals, many dreams, many strides. Are the black, green and gold, are we pride? Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. We are strong when we are one, Sagicor, celebrating Jamaican success.
NHT contributors, if your house was damaged by Hurricane Beryl, you may be eligible for an NHT disaster relief loan or grant to help with repairs. Find out how to apply at nht.gov.jm or call 888-CALL-NHT. That's 888-225-5648.
When last you get good bun, you don't know good bun until you have a mother's bakery bun. From you pull open the wrapper and it's soft so till. A so bun for nice. And from when you take the first bite, love it so till. A so bun for nice. Beg your piece.
Get your own mother's bakery bun.
I will buy one off you.
Yes, but I will charge a convenience fee.
I will take one.
Me too. Mother's Bakery Buns. A so bun for nice. Try them today.
Rise to the occasion, look at yourself and say you're strong. No one can stop you, oh yeah. Rise to the occasion, go ahead, you know you're strong. No one can stop you. It's for you to make the best in the life. Now that you've got the chance, get up and step towards your goal, it's alright. Fulfill your needs and the wants. You to make the best in the life. Now that you've got the chance, get up and step towards your goal, it's alright. Yeah. Some people read and meditate, others move scanty, yo. Some people are conscious about life, others are still panting, yo. Some people like strong drink, cognac, champagne and brandy, yo. Babies love ice cream and cake and candy, yo. I love herbs and girls, good words, roots, I'm a shanty, yo. Girls love clothes and shoes, going to school brand new and a meat spanking, yo. Yes, we all need education because that's the damn thing, yo. All things fade, leaving it standing. It's for you to make.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. You are tuned in to Nationwide This Morning NTM, the big show. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us. Hello to all of our YouTubers or peeps out there in Radio Land, joining us from the other platforms that we provide for you to listen to Nationwide This Morning and all our other shows. Good morning to you as well. Yeah, it is Wednesday, August 14, 2024. I'm Tona Thomas.
Good morning, Tona. Good morning, listeners. My name is George Davis.
Hello to you, George.
Hello.
Happy Wednesday to ya.
Happy Wednesday indeed. Middle of the week, eh?
Yes.
Middle of the week.
Does it find you in good spirits?
Yeah, man. All the time, man. All the time.
Same here. And I hope for our listeners or YouTubers as well that Wednesday, hump day, finds you in good spirits. And I hope it remains the same for the rest of the day and the rest of the week heading into the weekend.
Very well. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, was yesterday the victim of a major data leak. The public would not know, but some information, well, the public would know because I saw some of the bloggers running with the information and playing investigative journalists with high-level sources. I'm sure their followers believed that, whoa, you are very well informed to be able to get this kind of information. But the leak itself, and when I say leak, I've been made to understand that the High Command is viewing it as a leak and they're investigating. But in case you didn't know, listeners, let me just spell it out for you. This investigation that is ongoing into what happened at Cherry Tree Lane on Sunday was setback, I believe, yesterday, because an internal report prepared by the JCF for the JCF found its way into the public domain. It circulated on WhatsApp yesterday morning. And we get statements from the police daily, from the CCN, going back to CCN now? CCN, right. And the level of detail in this statement, even an amateur would know that this was not meant for the public eye. Very detailed, granular details even of the investigation and the connected parties, the network around what the police are theorizing led to and caused to happen in Cherry Tree Lane. Listeners, viewers, picture one of those movie scenes. You have the whiteboard and they have the pins on the board and they're drawing lines between the pins and connecting. That was the kind of thing that the police prepared and which was released into the public domain. Now the question is, why would someone in the JCF share that level of detail with anybody not inside the police force? There are people saying, well, you see.
George, I would go as far as to say not within the investigative team.
Well, there you go. There you go. How is it that something as significant as this could be leaked? Now, I'm saying leak. The early theories are, well, all right, George, maybe it could have been a leak. Maybe it was sent by mistake. I don't believe that was sent by mistake. That's not the kind of thing you send by mistake. That's the kind of thing you send to somebody you have confidence in. Now, was it a journalist who got it? I don't believe so. Because people in this profession, we get details of very important things very often. And I can't recall anything like that reaching in the public domain before. So I don't think one of our members was the recipient of this detailed report from the police. I believe it may have been sent to somebody else. And as Donna is saying, then if you're not an investigator, not even if you're a police, not because you're a member of the JCF, you should get this. You shouldn't get this if you're not a part of the investigation. Yeah? Who was the intended recipient? Who was the recipient, rather? And what did the recipient do with the information that caused the whole of Jamaica with a smartphone to be able to get that report? Now, the police will say otherwise. But you can't tell me that has not compromised in some way the investigation into the massacre. Because now, people named in the report, their location given, names mentioned, probably I say, well, on there. So how them know? Say, I have anything to do with this. You have no suspects yet. You don't arrest nobody yet. So who would tell you that I am so and so? And so the communication channels that were probably used to put all this thing together, turn out those channels are closed now or abandoned. Because man, I go say, oh, so you have eyes everywhere. It is extraordinary. And clearly we can't share in the detail here because that would defeat the whole purpose. And, it would make a mockery of me lamenting this morning on behalf of the JCF. But the JCF has questions to answer because, look, the police force has done tremendously well over the past few years where this process of reformation is concerned, the cleaning up of the image, the doing things in a manner to cause the Jamaican people to have more faith and trust in you. They've done a lot of work, and that work continues. But a sensible observer looking on is saying, then hold on, if the police can't keep them own information, or you'll keep mine, how are you going to keep safe and private that which I have shared with you when you can't hold on to your own information? And so the police high command, from the leadership right down to the lowest ranking member of the high command, and it's almost to say low ranking high command member, but you get the picture. All members of that high command must contribute to this investigation into which one are you officers at the highest level of the police got that information and shared it. Was it your rum brethren you share it with? Or your girlfriend? Was it your wife? Your brethren from school? Your party from a long time? How is it that you could have sent something out that obviously can send into hiding the people the police are zeroing in on to hold them to account for one of the worst atrocities in the history of modern Jamaica? That's what is contemplating or should be contemplated this day. And as I said, I know an investigation is underway. I've been told that this is being taken very seriously by the top man in the force. And I'm being told that when they find, or if they find out who, that heads will roll, and heads should roll. That person should be held up to the public and say, this is the man or the woman that leaked the details of the Cherry Tree Lane massacre investigation. Because the level of information, Tona, would also suggest that perhaps it is that the police have certain key contacts in certain key areas. Are those persons now compromised? Because so-and-so will see their name in a report and say, hold on, so hold them know again. So, but you, the man them amongst me, I can't trust them. So the potential harm by this leak is significant. Now, I can't even blame the vloggers who ran with the thing yesterday because they didn't know better. Poor things. They wouldn't know that there's a national security responsibility that they have to not share certain details.
Absolutely.
They got content and they were giddy. Oh my God, look at this. Yeah? Now put it up on my channel, you know, and viewers, like and subscribe. And go into it and you're reeling off people's names. You're talking about people's address and people's location and who and this and that and people all over the world. You would know better. Kind of people who would pick up a grenade and pull the pin and ask them friend to record it. Just to get likes. Not knowing that you have a dangerous thing in your possession. Because real journalists would not have done that yesterday. Not one, I can swear for them. You know, cuss media all the time, but no real journalist would have published that thing yesterday. And no real journalist did. So, I can't blame the vloggers. Children seeing shiny things, run go pick it up. Poor things. But I'm looking at the police this morning. I'm looking at the JCF. And say, as you investigate yourself, do so thoroughly. And fling the book at the man or the woman who was responsible for this leak yesterday.
The Ministry of Justice offers free counseling to victims of crime. Call 876-946-0663. The time by the Ministry of Justice is
6:47.
Energize your life the right way with DBJ. Yeah, you must can save enough energy solution. Choose one today for your house or your business. Money I go save. Yeah, DBJ. Energize your life the right way. The Development Bank of Jamaica Limited is here to help you with the purchase and installation of renewable energy systems to help you save on your energy bill. Contact your business banker or bank today. Energize your business or home the right way with DBJ Energy Loan.
The University of the Commonwealth Caribbean Recruitment Roadshow. Fast and easy registration. Informative sessions. One-on-one guidance. Join us on August 14, Ocho Rios. August 15, May Pen. August 16, Mandeville. August 21, Negril. August 22, Montego Bay. And our last stop, August 23, Halfway Tree. 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. each stop. UCC Recruitment Roadshow. Empower your dreams. Register today. UCC. Fostering leadership and innovation.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Down over Street Smarts with Ludlow McLean. Ludlow, what's up?
Hey, George, morning time. What's up?
I'm well, man. I'm well.
Hey to you, Ludlow. Good morning.
Just sitting in bright and sunny conditions, and things are off to a pretty good start. Not sure what is going to happen later, but so far so good, depending on where you are, though. East, no problem. Mountain View, the regular area is very good. Crossroad, Light Road coming up in the vicinity of the clock, no problem. Going across to Retirement Road from Halfway Tree Road, good. All those areas running off. Going across to Retirement Road, all these areas are smooth sailing. Russell Road, and then going down to Maxfield Avenue, going up, pretty good movement. So that's what's happening for the time being. Until about 7:18, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow McLean there with Street Smarts 1. Up next, the word of the day.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Your word of the day, spelled A-M-B-I-V-A-L-E-N-T, spelled A-M-B-I-V-A-L-E-N-T.
Ambivalent. Ambivalent. Ambivalent.
Ambivalent is your word of the day, one you're familiar with, meaning having mixed feelings about someone or something. Ambivalent. It's an adjective spelled A-M-B-I-V-A-L-E-N-T. Dictionary.com is telling us that ambivalent was first used in the 1910s in the field of psychology. The sentence is provided by Dictionary.com this morning for the word of the day, ambivalent. His ambivalent feelings towards his hometown made it hard for him to decide whether to move back or stay in the city. Another, I felt ambivalent about starting a new job, excited for the opportunity, but sad to leave my current team. Ambivalent. Definition again, having mixed feelings about someone or something. A lot of you are ambivalent this morning, well, perhaps about the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Yeah. Mixed feelings about someone or something. That's your word of the day.
It's on the point of mixed feelings. There was a song done some time ago where there's a lyric that said, I'm having mixed feelings like a mulatto. And so I said that.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I said, yo, that line.
Okay.
That line there, man.
Oh wow!
Mixed feelings like a lot.
Yeah. If I was listening to that song for the first time and I heard that, I'd have just paused.
Yeah, man.
And I hear the rest of the lyrics.
Yeah, man.
I just zone in
Yeah,
on
man.
that.
Mixed feelings like a mulatto. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember which.
White and black mulatto.
Mixed feelings like a mulatto.
Mixed.
Yeah. Genius.
Wow. Yeah.
Genius level.
That's a good one.
Yep. We are on, we're what, the 14th of the month already, so back to school preparations are heightening up now, ramping up now. So you know the usual thing, people run up and down last minute, forget book, and this. I see some people start advertising some services now whereby you send them your book list and they'll do the running up and down for you, and you pay them a fee, yeah man, and they'll get everything. And well, you know that there's no such thing as get everything, because for some reason, I don't know if the people collude, but I can't recall any book list where everything on the list is available for sale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always something where you can't get. And I was like, by the way,
Yeah.
these people say, look, don't worry about it. Just WhatsApp us the list and we will circle you back and say, boy, come and collect the package and the fee is X.
That's a good idea, George, because more and more people in Jamaica and globally are paying for convenience. So where you don't have to go and you can afford it and somebody else does the work for you, why not?
Absolutely so. So I'm sure that service will be a hit, but notwithstanding that, the places are going to be full. So if you haven't started yet, you can go out now, and you know people will say, yeah, George, but we can't go buy a book and we don't have the money. Well, you knew for the whole year, so this would be a back to school period. So you'd have had to prepare to get what you can get.
Yeah, because that's the strategy of some parents. They'll call the teacher or the school to ask which ones will be used at the start of the school year as their children step into school, which ones will be used, and they go for those ones first. And then the other ones, then buy down the line.
Mr. King, Mr. give you the wrap-up scene. Even Mr. King used to do this. You know what we used to do as boys? We have a pair of shoes we didn't like. You just start kick out it from early.
Oh, feet mash up.
Oh, God,
so you can
man.
get something
Yeah,
that
man.
you like.
Because I say,
Or what if your parents buy about the same, similar
no,
shoe?
she can't do that.
Oh, carry up.
What you gonna do?
A good. You still have to wear it to stitch it up and wear it.
You just skate to King, like you just run and just skate, and you just skate. Can you try to rub it down? Yeah, man.
Oh.
Every stone you see you kick. Poor parents. You see,
And you got
we were
karma.
horrible, you know. We were horrible children.
You got karma.
Oh, God.
Because your parents bought you to the shoemaker.
Big up Mas Alan from Housing Scheme, who used to stitch up the shoes them.
And big up Mr. Henry.
Yeah, man. Torture, man. Yeah. Anyway, parents, boy, I don't have it with children, but you know, you know best. That's all I'll say.
Diabetes is one of the most common diseases in the country. Diabetes happens when your body isn't able to take up glucose into its cells and use it for energy. This results in a buildup of extra sugar in your bloodstream. Poorly controlled diabetes can lead to serious consequences, causing damage to organs and tissues in the human body. Many people are affected by this disease, but did you know diabetes can also affect dogs and cats? Today in Pets World, we'll discuss symptoms of diabetes mellitus in a dog or cat. Diabetes is fairly common in dogs and cats. Just as in humans, the disease can be devastating to the body if left untreated. Animal Care Technologies, ACT, 3 says early symptoms of diabetes in dogs and cats include lethargy, which may go unnoticed.
The symptoms of diabetes, however subtle or apparent, are caused by both the reduction in the delivery of glucose to the cells and the elevated blood levels of glucose that is unused. Diabetes tends to afflict adult dogs and cats, and since they cannot communicate how they're feeling, lethargy is often mistaken for maturity. It would be obvious that something was wrong if a rambunctious puppy or kitten suddenly became lethargic. But a mellow adult dog or cat may seem normal when it's actually energy deprived. Therefore, lethargy is often overlooked as a first symptom of diabetes.
ACT says changes in appetite are also a symptom of diabetes in dogs and cats.
More noticeably, the cells being starved for glucose causes the animal to feel a constant sensation of hunger. The term used for increased hunger is polyphagia. Despite an increase in food intake, diabetics will begin to lose weight. This is because they are not able to utilize the glucose that is derived from food. Instead, the body begins to burn fat stores in order to survive. Because obesity is a contributing factor in the onset of diabetes, many diabetics will present as overweight patients that exhibit unexplained and sudden weight loss.
Increased thirst and frequent urination are also symptoms of diabetes, which commonly results in a visit to your vet where tests can be done to identify what may be affecting the family pet. Urinary tract infections are also common symptoms of diabetes in pets. Cataract formation is another symptom of diabetes in dogs.
In diabetic dogs, cataract formation occurs in almost all cases, even after treatment is pursued. This does not occur in cats. Cataract formation in a relatively young dog makes them a suspect for diabetes mellitus.
Once diagnosed, a treatment plan will be designed to meet the individual needs of your pet. The plan will address the type and amount of insulin, how it is to be administered, dietary restrictions, and exercise for your pet. Type 1 are often seen in dogs, which requires an insulin injection, while cats are more often diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Insulin injections are usually used initially, but when fed a special diet, about 70% of cats can eventually be maintained without the insulin. There is no cure for diabetes, but through commitment and management, your pet can live a happy, comfortable life. That's it for Pets World. Until next time.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
You've just hired a new employee. From your experiences, being the new person in the office can be scary. Hi, I'm Tana, and it's time for your lifestyle pages. Encourage your staff to be warm and always smile. Advise them not to stare. That can make others feel uncomfortable. Make a formal introduction of your new staff. Keep your new staff busy. Having nothing to do will lead to serious boredom. Assign a senior staff to train your new employee. Do not play favorite. This can cause conflict with other staff members. Encourage feedback. Ask your new employee to do an end-of-week report. And always be the example you want to see. I'm Tana, and those were your lifestyle pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
From Negril Point to Morant Bay, a little kindness can go a far way. The time by the Jamaica Information Service is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore, Kingston Normal Bay. The temperature by National Supply is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 this morning, Wednesday, August 14, 2024, Health Ministry reports 16% rise in COVID-19 cases. The OUR says JPS will be subject to a formal inquiry on post-burial electricity restoration. MOCA says 2 men arrested in Cherry Tree Lane on Monday were on their way to carry out a reprisal. And in international news, the US says it's aiming to dial things down in the Middle East amid rising tension.
News at 7 is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Chris Tufton, is calling on Jamaicans to take the necessary precautions to avoid contracting COVID-19. The ministry has warned that there's been an increase in the COVID-19 transmission rate. There was a 16% rise in cases recorded in July.
It is happening. It's not unique to Jamaica. There are different reasons advanced. I think the conditions for spread may be based on environmental factors is maybe one thing. The mutation of the virus, another. We did say in the late stages, after we declared the end of the pandemic, that COVID was not going to go away. It was going to ultimately become similar to the common flu, which can lead to pneumonia, or it can be easily treatable. And I suspect we're getting some of that. It's important to continue to monitor.
Despite his warning, Dr. Tufton says Jamaicans should not panic.
Unfortunately, we have had, I think, 8 deaths since January associated with COVID or complications from COVID, and therefore the vast majority of persons who have been affected have been able to be treated and gone home. So, it's important to highlight it, but not to cause panic or not to get people to feel like, they can't go about their normal lives, as long as they take the precaution and if they have symptoms, seek remedy from a doctor.
Chris Tufton, the Minister of Health and Wellness. He was speaking on Tuesday evening on Nationwide at 5. And Dr. Tufton says immunization remains an important part of Jamaica's COVID response.
Immunization for us is extremely important. We have a history of immunizing our population against certain things, which to my mind has done a lot of positive for us. COVID vaccines, we still maintain, have served us well to the extent that persons have taken those vaccines. We have had, however, other means of securing the population, despite the low take-up, and a number of other variables we have done well as a country, mortality rates and so on. I think we have a very efficient primary healthcare system where we visit homes, we provide information, we give guidance, the health centers that are networked. We think it's a very important tool, and we will continue to say so, and hopefully to encourage Jamaicans to see this as a very important part of the COVID response.
Dr. Tufton says Jamaica has enough ventilators to deal with the rise in COVID cases.
Yes, we have ventilators. I think we have spoken about that, and have benefited a lot from the COVID experience by expanding capacity. We have COVID wards that are still in effect. Sometimes they are used for different reasons. Up at UWI, for example, there's a ward that was built right beside the accident and emergency. St. Joseph's Hospital, Falmouth Hospital, and I could go on. The ones that had the temporary structure, the tents, like at Spanish Town, that was dismantled recently, partly because of the rains that came. Spanish Town, I think, was also affected. I'm not sure if they have put that back together, but the more permanent ones, Sub Hospital and others, have either been converted to regular ward space, and if possible, could be reconverted if necessary. Let's hope it's not. As of now, it's not.
Dr. Chris Tufton, the Minister of Health and Wellness. The Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, says the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, will be subject to a formal inquiry once power is restored to all customers across the island who were affected by the passage of Hurricane Beryl. The OUR met with the JPS on Tuesday to hear whether the company met the August 12 deadline for the restoration of power to customers. Shalois Michael reports.
The OUR had directed JPS to fully restore electricity to customers across the country by August 12, except those in St. Elizabeth. Customers in that parish have a restoration date of August 31. Director General of the OUR, Ansad Hewitt, says the JPS provided a breakdown of the more than 10,000 customers still without power across the country, including St. Elizabeth at Tuesday's meeting.
They gave a detailed report on what they have done in the rest of the country, save for St. Elizabeth, where they still have 10,000 customers out. They gave us data, which of course we have to some extent check and verify, of the customers who were out in other instances where there are specific circumstances preventing restoration. Things like they're just impossible, they can't get to them, access issue with bridges, swamp lands, and in some instances they have to reroute lines and they need to secure easement. So for the most part, those would have been a couple of hundred customers.
Mr. Hewitt says a formal inquiry will be conducted once the dust has settled on the company's restoration efforts.
We indicated to JPS as well that there will have to be some kind of formal inquiry after the dust has settled on the restoration to see how it was conducted, what were the factors that were at play, the lessons that we will learn, whether there are issues of culpability and so on. So we will do that, but that has to be undertaken at a time when we have got the restoration out of the way and we can actually look at the matter in an objective way, without too much of the emotions that are riding high at the moment, without getting in the way of the restoration effort, which is what is critical.
Mr. Hewitt says there are some concerns on whether JPS will fulfill its restoration promise to St. Elizabeth by the end of the month. Under the OUR Act, JPS could attract a $2 million fine if the company fails to fully restore power by a specified timeline. But Mr. Hewitt says there is still time.
We still have to analyze, we still have to verify that what they have indicated in terms of the rest of the island is correct. That's one thing. Two, we still have to examine the reasons they have given for the timeline they have the time they are taking to restore St. Elizabeth. At this point, we don't have enough in front of us to say, well, we need to take further action. So we'll continue to look at that.
Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the Director of Communications at the JPS Winsome Callum says the utility company will be providing a comprehensive report on its restoration efforts to the Energy Minister, Daryl Vaz.
JPS is providing a detailed report to both the OUR and our Minister of Energy to highlight the challenges that we have encountered, as well as the communities that have been restored and those that have not been restored. So that detailed report was actually sent to the OUR already, and we will be providing the Minister with the detailed report that he is asked for. He was updated by our CEO on the progress that we made, and he will be provided with a detailed report.
Minister Vaz requested an update from the utility company in light of news that more than 10,000 JPS customers remain without power. JPS has noted that excluding St. Elizabeth, restoration efforts have been stalled in Westmoreland, Manchester and rural St. Andrew due to accessibility issues. Ms. Callum says there are about 200 customers still without power in those parishes.
We're looking at about 10,600 persons who remain without supply. Of this 10,600, approximately 10,400 are in the parish of St. Elizabeth.
Winsome Callum, Director of Corporate Communications at JPS. It appears that two men who were arrested in relation to a gun seizure on Monday in Cherry Tree Lane, Four Paths in Clarendon were on their way to carry out a reprisal. That's according to Director of Communications at the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, Major Basil Jarrett. The two men are 24-year-old Devontae Jackson, a construction worker of Cherry Tree Lane, and 22-year-old Rick Edwards, a farmer of Lawson Boulevard in Four Paths. They are charged with being in possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition. Robian Williams reports.
Devontae Jackson and Rick Edwards were accosted by lawmen who were patrolling Cherry Tree Lane following Sunday night's mass murder. Speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday, Major Basil Jarrett stated that the threat of reprisal attacks remain in the community.
Those two persons who were detained and charged were intent, it appears, on carrying out another reprisal attack in the community in the heat of the moment. It was the very alert JDF patrol that was working in the area that came upon the men and were able to put them in. The threat has not passed. The threat is still there. When you look at the genesis of this conflict, you realize that it's going months back and it could very well still be very well alive, and it's not necessarily limited to Clarendon. So it's very important that we all remain vigilant. If you see strange faces in your community, say something. If you see activity that looks suspicious, say something, because you never know when this sort of crime might wash up on your own doorsteps.
Major Jarrett says a comprehensive joint security operation has been launched, led by the Jamaica Constabulary Force in collaboration with the Jamaica Defence Force and MOCA in response to Sunday's brutal killings. He says the operation is part of a coordinated effort to restore security and normalcy to the community and bring the perpetrators to justice. Major Jarrett notes that the support of residents is paramount to prevent any further escalation of violence.
MOCA is bringing our intelligence and our investigative and our cyber capabilities to the fight. The JDF I've seen the JDF contingent here on the ground. It's also a very serious signal of intent. I know that the police officers here have been in the community. They've been talking to residents and they've been doing really good investigative work so far. The missing piece of the puzzle, though, if you ask me, is the community support. A crime like this doesn't happen in such a small community without someone knowing about it. And I think what we really need, instead of always simply looking to the security forces, I think persons really need to be looking to themselves to see how can we be a part of the solution. We've provided ample avenues for persons to make confidential and anonymous reports to the police, and we do get them from time to time, but I don't think Jamaica has grasped the severity of the situation and everyone has committed to playing their part.
Meanwhile, Major Jarrett is urging anyone with information related to the incident to come forward and share what they know.
There's the 888 MOCA tip, which we launched some time ago, and then there's Crime Stop. Crime Stop has been around since 1989. They've never had a source compromise, not one. I don't know what other indication of trust you can have when our number one hipline reporting body can say that in 30-odd years. They've never had a compromise. And so we're appealing to the public to give the security forces the support. I want to see the end of this. It's disheartening when we see what is happening in Jamaica. I saw a headline on Monday, mass murder. This is where we are now. We really need to take back this country. People need to find their values. We need to go back to basics, principles, right and wrong.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the government will be reviewing legislation to further strengthen penalties for firearm offences. His comment follows Sunday night's horrific gun attack in Cherry Tree Lane 4 Paths in Clarendon. Under the Firearms Act, which was passed in 2022, people who are convicted for possession of a prohibited weapon face a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years behind bars.
To take a look at all the legislation we have, we need to strengthen the legislation further beyond what we have done with the Firearms Act. We will initiate that and give the advice as soon as we have settled on that. Crime Cell accepted, but we will examine all of this because using automatic weapons to fire on innocent citizens is an act of terror and it frightens the community. And when you get mass murder of this level, it is of course troubling to all of us and to all Jamaicans. The ministry and the government takes this very seriously and will take every step within current legislation and whatever is at our disposal within the security forces to protect citizens, prevent reprisal, apprehend and disrupt the gangs.
Dr. Horace Chang, National Security Minister, he was speaking during a visit to Cherry Tree Lane on Monday. Overseas news now. The United States is aiming to dial down the temperature in the Middle East amid fears of a retaliatory attack on Israel by Iran. That's according to the country's ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas Greenfield. On Tuesday, she told the UN Security Council in New York that the U.S. wanted to deter and defend against any future attack and avoid regional conflict. There are fears Iran could retaliate against Israel following July's assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, something Israel has not said it was behind. U.S. President Joe Biden suggested reaching a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas in Gaza could help deter Iran from launching an attack on Israel. A new round of ceasefire talks is set to take place in either Doha or Cairo on Thursday. That's the news.
News at 7 was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:15.
Me, busy as usual, so I don't have no time for whole heap of paperwork. That's why I downloaded and signed up for my One JN Passport app. It's a whole new level of convenience and access to services within the JN Financial Group. Just a few taps on my smartphone and box. I can update my personal information, open a JN Bank savings account, and even apply for an unsecured loan. Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The One JN Passport app. JN will help you find a way.
Grace Foods got the taste that moves you.
Grace is bringing family, food, and fun together in one place. Get ready for Grace Food Festival on August 24th at Hope Gardens. Gates open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Enjoy a day filled with culinary delights, kiddie zone, enough giveaways, back to school village, discounted Grace products, and live performance from Ding Dong and much more. Grace Food Festival, August 24 at Hope Gardens from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with the gentleman Ludlow McLean on the nation streets. Good morning again, Ludlow.
Morning again, George, and morning to our listeners on Muslim Public, and until it's really bright and sunny. I hope you get, those of you who like to be in the shade, get some energy from the sun, vitamin D, they call it. But the roadways are, apart from there's an accumulation of traffic now on certain areas, the regular boulevard to Malines, but it's still moving steadily, no problem. And also towards the southbound side of the Panistone Road going towards the 3 miles area, which is quite busy, quite active. The distribution is Hagley Park Road, southbound along Marcus Garvey, and a continuation onto Panistone Road. But going further up, Keesing Avenue, Elspeth Avenue, all these areas are moving steadily all the way up to Hagley Park Road. Apart from Hagley Park Road, going up towards Easter Park, northbound, Easter Park, northbound, going onto South Avenue. That is a line of traffic you won't escape. Hunton Spring Road was flowing from Dunrobin all the way down, but it builds up in the intersection of the transport center. But going across the Harpatry Road, the flow is steady. All the way down, going past the Sealy Avenue, Brooklyn Road, Chelsea Avenue, all these areas are moving. Oxford Road, busy, yes, but in both directions, you won't experience any delay, and going further into Crossroads, that's also pretty good. I still want to remind the authorities about that intersection of Grenada Percent and Trinidad areas. That couple is really making a bit cumbersome now. So please, authorities, let us have that area sorted out as quick as possible. In the meantime, it's really good movement, as I said. Let's see what happens at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, when the traffic flow will definitely increase. All right, so George, our second report for the morning.
Thank you, Ludlow. Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow McLean there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, Front Page.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
(7:21) on this Wednesday morning, Wednesday, August 14, 2024. You are with the Front Page here on Nationwide 90 FM. They call me Jorge Davis. What's your name in Spanish?
I have no idea.
It would be Tauna. Tauna Thomas.
But that's a good question.
Tauna.
I should look it up after. But this morning, we're focusing on how domestic terrorism should be fought by the Jamaican government. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has declared war on all gangs operating in Jamaica. The Prime Minister made that declaration following the massacre of 8 people in Cherry Tree Lane, Clarendon, Sunday night. In a media conference at his St. Andrew offices on Monday, Mr. Holness warned all gangsters involved in the brutal killings that they would be brought to justice one way or another. A tough-talking Prime Minister Holness vowed that the security forces would hunt down the gangsters responsible.
What I have declared here is a total assault on gangs in Jamaica. I want that to be clearly understood. Operationally, they must go after every gang in Jamaica. The gangs that have been identified as being directly responsible for this action are connected with other gangs. And so we must pull the thread to where it leads. So today, every gang leader should take with themselves.
The Prime Minister declared Sunday's mass murder an act of terrorism. Britannica.com defines terrorism as the calculated use of violence to create a general climate of fear in a population to bring about a particular political objective. So, is it correct then to label the Cherry Tree Massacre an act of domestic terrorism? That's the first question. And then, perhaps more importantly, how should the government combat this, what the police are describing as domestic terrorism? We're joined by Professor of Sustainable Development at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, Anthony Clayton. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning, George. Good morning, Tona. How are you?
We are good. How are you?
Not too bad at all, thank you.
Excellent. Cherry Tree Lane Massacre, does it fit the definition of domestic terrorism?
George, the classic distinction is not in terms of the action, it's in terms of the motive. So when people talk about terrorism, they usually mean something that's motivated for political or religious reasons. But for many years now, gangs have been using classic terrorist tactics, which they use to intimidate their rivals, cow the population, and try to deter law enforcement. So there's a difference between terrorist and criminal activity is not in the actions, it's just what we believe are the motives. Of course, what has also happened is over the last few decades, we've seen an increasing overlap and interrelationship between terrorist and criminal activity. And if you look at UN Security Council resolutions 1373, 1456, 2322, and 2368, they all talk about the close connection between terrorism and organized crime and the potential for the convergence of criminal and terrorist activities. So what the gang did in Cherry Tree Lane is because of the indiscriminate nature of the violence and because part of the motivation appears to have been not just a targeted assassination, but the intimidation of an entire community, it would fit part of the description of a terrorist act. The problem, however, with using terrorist language to address a criminal problem is that what people usually mean when they talk about doing this is they usually talk about using tactics which are not defined in current law. In other words, we switch more from a policing operation to a military operation, and that has major potential consequences in the longer term, including how the population see the police and the security forces. And so that has to be handled with care, because you don't want to end up alienating the very people that you're trying to protect.
And that's exactly where I wanted to go with the point based on your answer, because your explanation, because when you talk about domestic terrorism, then are you, from the perspective of the security forces and the government, not seeding the ground for the introduction of legislation that gives the police/security forces more power, which could then result in the abrogation of rights?
It's possible. It is possible. It depends very much on whether the government and the security forces have a very careful strategy for dealing with this. Yeah, before we start talking about terrorism, I think we have to look first at the existing legislation and the existing capabilities within the police force and ask ourselves, are there any obvious gaps? Do we have all the necessary legislation in place? Do the police force have the assets? Do they have the communications infrastructure, the transport infrastructure, the weapon systems that they need? Are there any gaps in their skill sets? What is it that we need to address this problem? Because we undoubtedly do need to address it. Calling it a terrorist act doesn't in itself solve any of these problems. So we have to be clear. Are we saying that there's a gap in our current capabilities? Or is it that we want to talk about terrorism in order to move away from a policing approach and more towards a military approach? And I think we need to be clear. I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong. There are times when you actually do need to move to a more military approach. But we have to be very clear why we're doing it.
But what I hear the police saying, Professor Clayton, as well, if you talk about what exists in the current legislative environment, is that the powers that are available to them now don't allow them to make the kind of targeted interventions that would serve as a counterbalance to this domestic terrorism. In other words, even under a state of emergency, there's limited room for them to work because you have to declare a broad geographic area, put it under a state of public emergency, then the threshold for the reason for holding on to a person for a particular amount of time to facilitate an investigation, all those. So they're saying that the current legislation does not allow them to do that, and if you go the route of domestic terrorism and legislate for that, it will give them those powers that that don't exist as of now.
Well, the other thing we could do, though, George, is simply look at the way that the ZOSO legislation works and the way that the ZOSO concept is being applied, and see if we could not be quicker and simpler simply to make the necessary amendments to what we already have. When the ZOSO concept was brought in, it's based on a clear hold and build strategy, which is very much about containing an entire area, going through it, and removing the weapons and removing the gang members. Unfortunately, that has never been applied in the sense in which it's originally intended. And because if you look at how these models are applied in elsewhere, including in countries which have a serious problem with terrorism, they're not time limited. They go in and with an open-ended commitment to stay in that community until the job is done. We did not do that. We go in with these 30-day, 90-day extensions. And of course, what that does is it tells the gang that you're going to go away. And that undermines everything that you're trying to do. So we have to look at why we didn't apply the concept properly and whether or not it would be quicker and simpler simply to fix that rather than to start introducing a military-led counter-terrorism strategy.
Let's take the break, Professor Clayton, and come right back and continue the conversation. Sorry.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:30.
Eliminate the hassle of managing multiple medications that can be confusing. Thanks to Horton's Pharmacy. Introducing RX Pack, a mobile app available in the App Store and Google Play Store. RX Pack is specially designed for you to order and manage your medications. Download today for free. That's RX Pack for better medication management. Call 876-RX-0-RX-RX or visit our website, hortonsrx.com for more details.
Drive Hyundai. Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 4.99% interest rate. Yes! Shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 4.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 4.99%. Conditions apply.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. We're having a conversation with the Professor of Sustainable Development at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, Professor Anthony Clayton. The question this morning, how domestic terrorism should be fought by the government. A question for you, Professor Clayton. If it is that the government was to consider putting domestic terrorism on the books and placing out the structure in which the security forces could fight domestic terrorism in Jamaica, with your experiences and perhaps what you've seen in other places in the world, what would that possibly look like?
There's different models, Turner. The one that everybody, of course, has been talking about recently is the one in El Salvador, where you have the mass internment of everybody believed to be a gang member. And now in some terms this has been enormously successful. The level of homicide plummeted from being the highest in the world to being comparable with that of the United States. The alternative, another strategy, is like the one used to fight the paramilitaries in Northern Ireland. That, however, operated almost at all times, within a legal framework, so that the military were involved, but they were there in support of the police, who, as far as possible, were operating within the law and operating normal policing strategies. So there's a range of options available to you if you end up fighting domestic terrorism or a combination, which is, I think, what we have here, of criminal structures using terrorist tactics. Now, there's no right or wrong answer here, but what you do need to have is a clear strategy for what it is you're trying to achieve and what price you're willing to pay.
And a part of that conversation about what the police, the government is trying to achieve is to not just dismantle the gangs, but dismantle the way they're able to mobilize the resources that they're getting, the guns and all of that. To your mind, how does the government treat with that if they're to go with this domestic terrorism legislation and the structure for that?
Well, this is a really crucial point, and I'm very glad you raised it. You can't just tackle gangs without also tackling the causes of crime. You have to go a little bit deeper. You have to look at how the gangs recruit and why they never have any trouble recruiting. If you just take off the current top leadership of gangs, a few years later, or more realistically, a year and a half later or 2 years later, they will start to reform, regroup, reorganize. New criminal structures will emerge. So what you have to do is you have to take on the gangs, and you have to use aggressive tactics sometimes, yes, to dismantle them and degrade their capabilities. You also have to look at where they're getting their money from and where they're getting their political protection from, and you have to sever all of those links simultaneously. But then you have to look at the generation of the new generation of gang members, and there you have to look at the children who are coming out of broken homes, going to very poor schools, leaving without qualifications, children who've often been physically, mentally, psychologically, sexually abused while growing up. And these children drift into gangs because there is no family structure, no viable family structure that cares for them. And these are all problems that you have to address. You have to look at the provision of, you have to ensure that the normal functioning of the state, including things like roads, clinics, streetlights, that kind of thing, is present throughout the country. You don't leave substantially disadvantaged communities, because those are always where we see the next generation of criminal structures emerging. So we have to do all of these things at the same time, Tora, if we're ever going to really eradicate this problem.
The issue, Professor, of the legislative environment, I'm revisiting that to ask, because we already have the law reform fraudulent transactions legislation on the books. We have POCA on the books, and you mentioned ZOSO and some of the key elements in that legislation. But the argument about domestic terrorism seems to suggest that maybe the police want something which will lower in court the evidence threshold required for convictions of people they believe to be gangsters. And I'm wondering if the society should accept being pulled in this direction in the face of what the police say is a new kind of criminality, heavily armed, deeply resourced, and with the potential to create mayhem of the kind we saw on Sunday.
Yes. Well, we've seen, for example, the series of assaults on vehicles transporting cash for banks. And these are also very clearly organized. These guys are using typically assault rifles. This is not street corner gang activity. This is a higher level of organized crime, and different tactics are needed to address this. But George, you also have to look at why some of these cases fail in court, even under the current legislation. And quite often it is because the forensics are not good, and there was a real possibility, there was a risk that evidence was contaminated between the crime scene and the court. A more common problem is that we can't get witness statements, and people will talk to the police, but they will not. They're not willing very often to give evidence in court for the simple reason that we don't have proper witness protection. And if somebody's going to come forward and give evidence in court, they are at risk. Their families' lives are at risk. And so one of the simple basic fixes that we've been calling for years now is to have a proper witness protection program, so that if people do come forward to give evidence in court, they know that they will be properly looked after. If we have to go to accepting a lower standard of evidence, well, there are some cases where you have to do that. In France, for example, they have a system where they will accept, in some cases, it's very difficult to produce evidence, but these cases do not go in front of a regular judge. They have a special panel of, I think it's 9 judges in the whole of the country who cover all of the counter-terrorism offenses. And these judges are specialized. They actually study the motives, the tactics, the history of the terrorist organizations that they're fighting. And so the evidence that is brought before them, they understand it, they can put it in context. So if we're going to go down this road, that is something else that we would need to think about, that we would need to set up a judicial system for dealing with these cases.
And you know, based on the what the police have articulated so far, insofar as the position that they're going to build to advance to the government, that which you put your finger on laterally is what I understand them to be saying, because the issues with the integrity of evidence is well known, and the systems that support the integrity of evidence being produced in court, and they're saying that for what the work, for the kind of work that they put in, and the kind of knowledge that they have about the actors behind certain crimes, there needs to be a situation where the evidence threshold for normal criminal activities, if you can call it that, should not be the same in certain acts that are bordering on or can be defined as terrorism. And that's where I think they should go. I don't know what the reaction of the opposition, what the civil rights groups will say, but it looks as if that's the conversation we're going to be having to have seriously very, very soon.
In most serious crimes in Jamaica, the police usually know or find out very quickly who is involved, because you can't do anything without somebody knowing. And word does get back to the police. The problem is that knowing something or being told something is not the same as evidence, and won't stand up in court. So, if we want to make more use of evidence given in secure conditions, and this means, for example, concealing the identity of witnesses, then we have to have a special court system, because that would conflict with some of our commitment to this idea that justice must be done and must be seen to be done. But we understand, George, that if we go down this road, that there is the potential for abuse, and it must be very carefully. You have to build guardrails. It's very important to ensure that if we're going to go down this road, that the operations, the modus operandi, the legislative framework have to be carefully designed.
In terms of the El Salvador model, Professor Clayton, which the Prime Minister raised again on Monday, that someone sent him a message asking about the application of the model here in the wake of what happened on Sunday, can the model be palatably adapted in a society like Jamaica's, do you think?
It could be used here. I'm not sure that people are really willing to see people arrested en masse, and that is what it means. It means rounding up everybody who is either known or believed to be a gang member or a gang affiliate. Now, because the main gangs in El Salvador tend to go in for heavy body tattoos, that's not too difficult. Here, you'd be relying much more, apart from the known gang members, but in some cases you'd be relying again on statements from witnesses. And if you are concerned about the safety of these witnesses, these statements would have to be given in confidence. And then there would be the associated challenges with how you could challenge these witness statements. So again, this is something that we could do, but we would have to think about all the potential consequences, because there is an inescapable potential for abuse, and that means you have to build some kind of provisions, guardrails around this structure.
Finally, Professor,
try to minimize the possibility of abuse.
Finally, when the police say that, look, for those who will rage against our call for more powers to be able to do more on the investigative front and to bring people before the courts and have legislation that will allow us to be able to secure convictions, for people who rage against our push to do that, consider that it can't be normal for a society to accept bleeding 1,400 lives, 1,400 lives every year. At what point do we say we cannot continue with the way that we have been trying to address the problem? Something has to change. The police will say that.
Right, and I have every sympathy with the police when they say this. There is nothing normal about our situation at all. We are one of the top 3 countries in the world for violent crime. And the level of homicide has been trending downwards around the rest of the planet over the last 40 years, since the 1980s. There are very few countries of which that is not true, and we are at the top end of that group. We are in one of the most violent societies in the world. That is not a normal place to be. There's nothing normal about our circumstances, and that is why there is a genuine need to have this discussion about, do we have the assets, the skill sets, the legislation, the technologies that we need? Are we making effective use of them? And if not, why not? And if the answer to that is that we need a counter-terrorism approach, then so be it. But I think we do have to look first at why we're not making better use of the existing technology and the existing legislation.
Hear you on that. Thank you this morning for your time, Professor. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, George Taylor. Thank you for the invitation. Much appreciated.
Good.
Listen up, motorists. Speeding burns more gas. So slow down. The life you save may be your own and also that of your loved ones. Slow down. Save lives and money. The time by the Insurance Association of Jamaica is
7:47.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
Together we're our people standing strong. 3 million Jamaicans, let's work as one. Such a course and work with a plan. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. Every Jamaican of the heart of a champion. Such a core, big up with champions. Watch my style, watch my skill, watch my flow. Standing out anywhere where we go. Many goals, many dreams, many strides. All the black, green and gold, and we pride. Proud and tall, let's make the whole world understand. We are strong, when we are one, Sagicor, celebrating Jamaican success.
Attention all commuters, your JUTC fares just got lower. Use your Smarter card today and pay only $50. Yes, only $50. Travel safe and hassle-free with the JUTC using your Smarter card. But wait, there's more. Get 3 free rides with your first Smarter card top-up before May 31. With your Smarter card, paying your fare is easier. Say goodbye to coins and hello to hassle-free travel. Don't miss this opportunity when you travel with the JUTC, your route to excellence. Conditions apply.
Hurt less with Pharma Joint Flex. Taking Pharma Joint Flex daily helps to repair, replenish, and revitalize worn, damaged cartilage that causes joint pain. Do you suffer from arthritis and chronic joint pain? Then Pharma Joint Flex is the remedy for you. Our all-natural formula contains glucosamine and chondroitin, ingredients for joint repair, so you can get relief. Ask your pharmacist or doctor for Pharma Joint Flex, distributed by Massey.
Kingston and St. Andrew, the Jamaica Customs Agency comes your way this Friday, August 16, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for Customs Meets the Community Town and Community Tour Edition. We set the tempo at Downtown Parade, raise the pitch from Papin Square to Mandela Park, 3:30 at 2 p.m. So join us for all things customs, imports, exports, charities and auctions, contactless clearance and our new mobile app, Customs Connect. That's Customs Meets the Community, reaching our customers where they are.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning, turning our attention now to the University of Technology Jamaica. Their Students' Union Council is opposing a proposed 5% increase in tuition fees for undergraduate students. The union citing concerns about the financial burden on students and a lack of transparency from the school's management. Despite alternative proposals from the Students' Union, UTEC has failed to respond, leading to a virtual town hall where the university president committed to providing an official response by August 12. That was 2 days ago. Joining us now for an update on the matter, President of the UTEC Jamaica Students' Union, Rick Darby. We're still trying to make contact with Mr. Darby to find out if there has been any sort of U-turn or if the university has reached out to the student union now in relation to that 5% increase in tuition fees. The students union was proposing what, George? 3%?
Yeah.
3% increase.
Counter proposal.
But the university did not reach back to them on their counter proposal, instead going ahead with this 5% increase in tuition fees. A matter which we see almost annually, where students' unions at the different tertiary institutions, especially UWI and UTEC, come out to say that it's such a burden on students to be paying increased fees every year. So here we have it again.
You know, the issue of of UTEC and I'm tired of it. It has been carrying for so long, and you know, you get the impression that the level of interaction between the finance ministry and the various finance ministers, not just this one, because this issue was raging before Nigel Clark took over the office of Minister of Finance, but it frustrates me that the parties have not been able to find a solution that people can work with for over a respectable term. And I can't understand why this thing can't be settled. They talk about UTEC as the only national university, yeah? Because, of course, the UWI is a regional institution. The UTEC is particularly placed. And
is you making that point or somebody else said it?
No, man. But
because they used to go UTEC.
No, man. But you know me already. If I'm hyping up something, I'm boasting about something, I'm coach it on. I'm gonna say it, brawling. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. It's a fact. It's a fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I get your point.
Yeah, man. But it I don't know the issue. So people might say, so George, what does that have to do with the increase in tuition? The university will tell you that because it is so severely under-resourced from the public purse and the subventions and everything else, it now has to find ways to meet the cost of providing services to students. Hence, it has to raise fees, and it has to raise fees by a quantum that the students are finding difficulties with. Now, I've had in my time, I've been in the Rick Darby position with the Students' Union and trying to say, look, you know, we can't afford this because the majority of students over here, you know, we struggle to get by. And so, you know, we understand that the university has cash flow problems. We understand that you're not getting what you ought to get from the government, but you're going to have to find it another way because you can't get it out of our pockets because it doesn't exist. And this is the situation that the current Students' Union finds itself in.
But what I like, George, is that the Students' Union didn't come and say, point blank, don't increase.
And we're going to strike if we're going to protest.
Yeah, we're going to protest.
Counter proposal.
They had
Very
a proposal.
Smart.
Yeah. We have Mr. Darby on the line now. Yes. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
What's the update on the situation? Schools still going ahead with the 5% increase? Have they spoken to you now in relation to your counter proposal?
So on Monday, we would have met with the president and some members of senior management, and we're informed that the 5% has been added. We noticed the 5% in the morning when students started to select modules and their fees are being generated. We noticed an anomaly. And so we would have started to do the calculations on our end and realized that the 5% was indeed added. And on Monday, when they met with us, they confirmed that they have moved ahead and added that 5% to our tuition.
Did they indicate why they did not reach back out to your student union, yourself, in relation to that counter proposal?
Not really. They haven't given a definitive answer because on Friday when we would have had the town hall, when Dr. Brown was there, he would have stated that they would have taken into consideration all the points that the students were presenting in terms of the timing of the increase, etc., and the communication. However, he notified us on Monday that the finance department had already moved forward and added those fees. So I guess it wasn't up for the debate or discussion, and it begs the question, what exactly is going on here? Because as a university, it is the responsibility of them to communicate to the students any increase that is supposed to happen. In all my time at UTEC, this is the first time that an increase has ever happened, and it has not been officially communicated in writing to all students. Because when they first indicated to us, we were of the impression that it was only local undergraduate students whose tuition would have been increased. But on Monday, it's being cleared up that tuition is being increased for everybody, so including international students, graduates, etc.
It was Monday that you became aware of the 5% increase, or last week?
No, they indicated to us on July 8th that they wanted to increase by 5%, which we rejected, and we presented those 6 counter proposals on July 22nd, and they indicated that they would have given us a response by July 29th because they would have taken the 3% that we had. We spoke about the 3% and the enrollment commitment deposit increase, and they said they would crunch the numbers and give us feedback on that. But to date, they still haven't.
And you're saying that they didn't indicate formally that the 5% was applied to your tuition fees?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So it is that students were, yesterday just selecting their modules, and then the increases started popping up?
Yes, on Monday, when they would have started selecting, that's when you notice the 5% increase.
And the university has not indicated why it did not communicate formally about the increase as well?
No.
I mean, what sort of position does this put the students in now?
Well, when we met on Monday, they told us, they gave us another proposal, which was to maintain that 5% increase for the 2024-25 academic year, and then a freeze for the 2025-26 academic year. Of course, unofficially, because they haven't written to us as yet. We since then put that proposal to the students, and so far, from all the response that we've gotten, students have rejected that proposal. Numerous of students have indicated that the 5% might impact them attending school, and it might impact the amount of modules that they're able to carry for this semester or even the academic year.
Why did they not want to go? I understand the point you're making for this year, how it might impact their attendance and selection of modules and all of that. They didn't warm up at all to the idea of a freeze in the next school year?
No, we did have some students who would have indicated that yes, they would take the freeze, but majority of the students would have indicated that no, they're not going for it. And then several students started to raise the question, which was the question that we asked in the meeting. Is it that the university plans to raise our tuition every year, seeing that you're saying, okay, we're going to do a freeze next year? Is it that's a constant thing? Over the past 3 years, we've been seeing consistent increases. 2022, we got 10%. Last year, we took on 5%, and this year, they're putting on another 5%. So it begs the question now, is it that the university is looking at increasing our tuition every single year?
Has the university indicated that they will provide any sort of leeway, allowance in relation to paying your fees? Seeing that they've put an increase in place, or that's something that has always been there, where you have some amount of room to have your fees paid?
We have some amount of room because they do have a flexible payment plan. We have 4 months that we can pay our tuition, so it's broken up into a payment plan. So 30% the first month, another 30% in the second month, 20 in the third, and then the final 20 in the fourth month.
Would you call for an extension at this time for that?
For that, I don't see how possible it is, because moving from the 4th month, then school starts again, like 3 or 4 weeks following that. So there wouldn't be much leeway in terms, and especially, even now some students are having a difficulty because after they pay their last 20%, then they have to pay another enrollment commitment deposit to start the next academic year. So the payment plan is pretty much stretched thin.
Rick, is the Students' Union ruling out any possible response to the university's stance? Are all options still on the table, or are there some that you want action to register your disapproval of the course of action being taken?
Well, what we have indicated to them is until we have met a consensus, then we will continue the series of action until they meet us, because we have always been the one trying to meet them halfway, but it's never a case where they're trying to meet us. Because as I indicated, we went forward and we did 6 proposals that we looked at different ways that the university could increase its cash flow, as well as in all those proposals we looked at taking on an increase. The students wouldn't have agreed, but we said, listen, we understand the financial position that the university is in, but the timing is very bad, so we can't take on a full 5%. But these are the options that we're looking at for the upcoming academic year. We understand that subvention is everybody's thing, and it is something that we're taking on head-on to help campaign in the increase in the subvention for the university.
Hear you on that. Rick, we'll stay with it and give you support from this end and watch this one close. We're out of time this morning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Rick Darby, you're welcome, the president of the UTEC Students' Union. I've been here. Break time. Back with more after these.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
2 minutes after 8.
Success, powered by learning. The temperature, brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us, is
31 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Wednesday morning, I'm Tona Thomas. Councillor for the Balaclava Division in St. Elizabeth, Everton Fisher, says he's frustrated with the slow pace of electricity restoration in the area. Mr. Fisher says about 3,000 residents across some 14 communities are still without power.
I am very distraught. The restoration of electricity to the Balaclava area has been very tardy. And I've made numerous outreach to the JPS, but nothing seemed to be coming. Only yesterday, after 5 weeks, I saw some movement. My area, right after burial, they restored the line about 2 weeks. The main line from Magati to Balaclava. I represent areas where you have a lot of turning off. I have about 14 or 15 communities, and they have been languishing for this commodity electricity. At least 3,000 persons are without electricity at the moment.
Mr. Fisher says healthcare services are also negatively affected.
The health center is on the main of Balaclava, and they were restored when Balaclava got back light. But about a half a day after, some breakers seem to have tripped. It is taking about 2 weeks now. A lot of the persons depend on the health centers. Not many persons can afford the high doctor's fee. So a lot of people from the communities, and this morning I got a call, one lady left Roses Valley to go to the health center to get some remedy for her sick child. And when she got there, she was told that because of no electricity, some of the service offered there cannot be rendered.
Everton Fisher, councillor for the Balaclava Division in St. Elizabeth. He was speaking on Cliffviews Online on Tuesday. 2 men found in possession of multiple stolen items in Kingsland, Manchester on Tuesday have been arrested and charged. The Manchester police report that the men, 29-year-old Corey Simpson, otherwise called Crazy Teeth, and the 36-year-old Ryan Parks were found with scores of poker box parts, a crowbar, several laptops, a quantity of ammunition and toilet fittings. They have been charged with unlawful possession of property, possession of a house-breaking instrument, and possession of prohibited ammunition. Police say Simpson, a farmer with addresses in Perth Road, Manchester, and Bull Savannah and St. Elizabeth, has been charged for house and shop breaking on previous occasions. Parks, meanwhile, is a labourer of Somerset District, Manchester, and Chambers Lane in Spanish Town. The St. Anne police have charged a man and a woman with murder following a deadly incident at a bar in Ocho-Rios on Friday, June 21. Charged are 31-year-old construction worker Rasheen Allen, otherwise called Coco, of Buckfield, Ocho-Rios, and a 26-year-old chef Torian Pearson, otherwise called Terry, of Pimento Walk, also in Ocho-Rios. The victim has been identified as 43-year-old Kevin Clark, a labourer of Parrytown in the parish. The St. Anne police report that at about 11 p.m., Clark got into an altercation with a person in the bar. He then hit Allen over the head with a bottle and ran. Clark was then accosted by onlookers. The police say Allen and Pearson then stabbed Clark multiple times. Allen also allegedly used a stone to strike Clark in the head. Clark was taken to hospital where he was admitted in serious condition. He was transferred to another hospital and succumbed to his injuries 2 days later. That's it for Across Jamaica, and we now take you around the Caribbean with our 5-minute Caribbean News Roundup for Wednesday, August 14.
From the Caribbean News Desk, the morning edition. Good morning. I'm Kendall Morgan.
And I'm Dennis Chabral with the latest from across the Caribbean.
Tropical storm Ernesto is expected to be upgraded to a hurricane today after drenching several parts of the northeastern Caribbean yesterday. The British and U.S. Virgin Islands are among territories under flash flood warnings as they remain on Ernesto's path. British Virgin Islands Governor Daniel Pruis, who chairs the Disaster Management Operations Group, has announced a shutdown of the territory today.
We've been discussing and ensuring that we have necessary preparations in place for Tropical Storm Ernesto. We expect severe rainfall and strong winds through into Wednesday. As a consequence of that, I've taken the decision that all government offices will be closed Wednesday, and obviously we'll keep the situation under review thereafter. I'd encourage everyone across the Virgin Islands to ensure that they have made adequate preparations for the weather that lies ahead. Please secure your property, and please ensure that you and your loved ones stay safe.
Montserrat's Disaster Management Coordination Agency reported that Ernesto's heavy and prolonged rainfall triggered lahars or mudflows, making the 3 crossings of the Belém Valley River impassable for some time yesterday. Ernesto is also on track to hit Puerto Rico before turning to the north and possibly impacting Bermuda by the weekend.
Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Sport says Caribbean nations that did not perform well at the just concluded Paris Olympics need to diagnose what went wrong. Ms. Shamfa Kajolua says this needs to be a broad-based approach.
While we are having this conversation today, Jamaica is having the same conversation because they're saying it's the lowest medal count that they have gotten over the years. So there's need for introspection, there's need for partnership, there's need also for national governing bodies to come to the table and discuss coach accountability, long-term athlete development, and working hand in hand, and I would say most importantly, accountability.
In terms of Trinidad and Tobago's performance, she believes that the contingent did to their best. However, she notes that elite athletes are not made in an Olympic year, but require time, effort, and resources from government, the private sector, and the national governing bodies.
The Caribbean Broadcasting Union, CBU, is urging policymakers to support television stations to shift from analog to digital transmission systems. CBU President Claire Grant, in her address to the opening of her organization's 55th annual general meeting in Belize, advised countries in the region not to wait until they are fully prepared before they move towards digital transmission.
We're encouraging policymakers to act in a timely manner to ensure that the correct enabling environment is in place to help domestic media services make the shift with a feasible business model in place. And this is very important. It's It's not something to be embarked on lightly. There are a lot of pieces that have to come together. We actually can't wait for all the pieces to come together before we make the move. But while we are moving ahead, it is important that all of the players involved make the correct decisions to enable the industry so that it can empower and enable the people.
Guyana says more British businesses are interested in setting up their manufacturing operations there to take advantage of CARICOM free trade rules. The head of the Guyana Office for Investment is Dr. Peter Ramsroop.
Distribution of products tend to be the start of investments. So instead of me trading a product to Guyana, what we're telling the trader, why not build it in Guyana? And then that's what we're finding, that the eyes are opening up now that, wait a minute, instead of me sending this distribution product into Guyana, I can produce it now in Guyana, and not only for Guyana, but for the wider region. And the CARICOM trade agreements, as we know, we have access to multiple trade agreements across the globe. And I now see the eyes opening up of companies in Great Britain of why they should be producing those products in Guyana versus just shipping them and distributing them.
In Barbados, the Employment Rights Tribunal has thrown out a case in which a transgender woman claims she was unfairly dismissed by the legal firm with which she worked. The tribunal said the woman, Alexa Huffman, had no standing to bring a complaint based on gender discrimination because the laws of Barbados are silent on transgender identity. The tribunal urged the country's parliament to consider amending the laws to reflect an evolving Barbadian society, a changing worldview, and to meet the state's international obligations. This has been the morning edition from the Caribbean News Desk. You may contact us by phone or WhatsApp at +592 700 9293. Thanks for listening.
Prevent outages before they happen. F&E Energy's preventative maintenance keeps your business running. Stay prepared, stay operational. Contact F&E Energy to schedule a free consultation. F&E Energy, powering Jamaica's businesses, one generator at a time.
Your food tastes the best, it's true. And your food brings the best out of you. Tasty meals packed with style, satisfying, makes you smile. Cream rises to the top, it's true.
Your Foods, sour cream and cream cheese spreads in supermarkets island-wide. Make your best even better.
NHT contributors, if your house was damaged by Hurricane Beryl, you may be eligible for an NHT disaster relief loan or grant to help with repairs. Find out how to apply at nht.gov.jm or call 888-CALL-NHT. That's 888-225-5648.
Drive Hyundai. Hyundai vehicles beyond your dreams with an exclusive 4.99% interest rate. Yes! Shop Hyundai vehicles and get a super low 4.99% interest rate on your car loan. Plus 2 years free service, 1 year insurance, and 5 years warranty. Offer valid on all 2024 Hyundai vehicles. Drive your Hyundai with the lowest interest, 4.99%. Conditions apply.
Kingston and St. Andrew, the Jamaica Customs Agency comes your way this Friday, August 16, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. for Customs Meets the Community Town and Community Tour Edition. We set the tempo at Downtown Parade, raise the pitch from Papin Square to Mandela Park 3:30 at 2 p.m. So join us for all things customs, imports, exports, charities and auctions, contactless clearance and our new mobile app, Customs Connect. That's Customs Meets the Community, reaching our customers where they are.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. Taking your calls. The numbers 630-9371-4, 630-9371-4, and 618-8255. East Central, good morning to you. East Central?
Hello?
You're coming in a bit low.
Morning, Tana.
Oh, good morning to you.
Hello?
East Central, can you hear us?
Yeah, me, I hear you, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, morning, Master Judge.
Morning, sir.
This morning we are going into question and answer session now. And the question and answer session based on crime. And let's start with your Master Judge. For a very long time, people have been asking, we have a crime plan or we don't have a crime plan? Because on March 2018, the then minister speak out.
Ooh. Go again, East Central, with the question. I never heard the last part.
The then minister Montague speak about a 5-pillar strategy.
Yeah.
Is that 5-pillar strategy is nowhere around the area now? Because when we look at crime, we see in 2020 the crime rate was down, but 2021 it was 10% increase over 2020. We look at 2022 is about 1,511. When we look at 2023, it is about 1,390 odd. So would you say that we are making small roads or we are making anywhere into reduction of crime?
Well, period after period, the police report murders going down. So that's the surest sign that something is working well. The professionalism of the police force, which was one of the aims of the administration, has continued. The provision, most importantly, the provision of resources to the police in terms of vehicles and equipment. Yeah, the police are now able to cover geographic regions that they were constrained in covering because of the absence of motor vehicles, motorcycles, motorbike, cars, and all those things. So the police have more of those than at any time in the history of the force. There are more members, more boots on the ground than ever before, and major crimes continue to trend down if the police reports are to be believed, and I have no reason to not believe them. So yes is the answer to the question.
Okay. So we have a global framework to ensure that we not only reduce acute problem of criminality today, but in the long term sustainable action. And you are now seeing it coming from this new commissioner in terms of crime reduction, not only in the short
The
term.
crime reduction started under the previous police commissioner, Anthony Anderson.
Indeed.
And Kevin Blake has continued in the same vein. And the resources that have been provided to the police, Anderson provided a lot of those things. So a lot of what is happening now is continuing along the line that Anderson left it. And to Dr. Kevin Blake's credit, he has not gone below, well, he's not veered from that path of reduction and improvements as they've gone along from the policing perspective.
When Mr. Blake was at Fort Southern Logistics, he had said one of the things, if police officers stepped out of line, they would get twice the punishment as different of normal citizens. Would you think that one was reasonable to say, or would you say that the system is there to guide each and every person who step out of line?
Well, there are accountability mechanisms within the force, and the ultimate accountability mechanism is the court of law. So for police personnel who break the law, then they go before the courts. The force has its own disciplinary mechanisms that it uses to deal with errant members. I've not seen anything yet to suggest that is not working or that errant police personnel are being slapped on the wrist. I know that where there are aberrations that they are dealt with forcefully, and then of course ultimately if there's a law-breaking matter, then it's not a police matter anymore, it's a matter for the court.
So would you say that wasn't reasonable enough to say that?
I don't understand the question.
Would you say that what he had said, it wouldn't reasonably enough say that?
Well, you have to understand in the East Central, when you come in as a new man, you have to you have to talk tough.
It was before he come in.
Yeah, but when you have leadership roles within the police force, yeah, and you want to send a message to members that those who step out of line will be dealt with seriously or severely. Yeah, you could understand then the way he spoke then. And I'm saying that there has been no instance reported where things have happened to contradict the position he put forward about strong action against members who step out of line.
Okay. All right then, Master, because may I give some people on here because a whole heap of question and answer, but may I go take you back on conviction and disclosure one other morning because you have some unanswered things to deal with because I know that you are the production manager who managed the news and in terms of putting out news briefing, and I have some things where it is inaccurate, but I want to speak to you about that on another time.
All right, no problem, sir.
All right, thanks.
Have a good morning, yeah, man.
Yes, please.
Good. Break time. Back with more after these.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A Pure Water would drink. The time by Pure Water is
8:22.
Remember every dream where you have, remember everything where you plan. With Jane Bank, anything possible. With a little savings in your hand. Save so you can build the house, buy the land. You have goals and dreams, make a plan. Save so you can.
Living your best life and making memories is priceless. But saving little by little is what makes it affordable. Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Energize your life the right way with DBJ. Yeah, you must can save enough energy solution. Choose one today for your house or your business. Money I go save. Yeah, DBJ. Energize your life the right way.
The Development Bank of Jamaica Limited is here to help you with the purchase and installation of renewable energy systems to help you save on your energy bill. Contact your business banker or bank today. Energize your business or home the right way with DBJ Energy Loan.
Power outages mean lost revenue. Can your business afford that? F&D Energy keeps your generators running smoothly. Contact F&D Energy to schedule a free consultation. F&D Energy, powering Jamaica's businesses, one generator at a time.
The numbers to call 630-9371, 630-9372, 630-9373, 630-9374, 618-8255. Tona, we need to have a conversation now because coming up is the nationwide cook-off. Yeah?
Really?
Yes, really. You mean
when?
Really? No, yeah, Saida go cook, man.
No, George.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are you saying me and Said?
Then who else I go cook?
You're right beside me, though.
Me and who else is something?
Yeah. No, I can't find somebody else.
No, man, no, you know what? Me and Pepita go run it off, man.
Oh, okay.
You understand? So
when is the cook-off?
Here, you know. So hold on, all right. So as they say, when you say when you're children, when you're children, play say me never did a host.
Mm-hmm.
So who would I cook? Me and who?
Yeah, Said and I would.
Exactly. So yes, no matter what, yeah, Said a cook. You understand?
Oh, okay.
So Tana, a simple thing, man.
When is it? When is it?
Well, we don't know. It's
or
in September.
When is it expected to be?
I think it's next month. Michael Paul was telling me last night that the competition is well underway. Is the planning is well underway? So very soon. So you need to get with Said now and prepare the menu. Yeah. So the defending champion, as me say, cook off. So watch Nora Gay Bantan should have show off self walking. Watch her. She have Michelle.
No, but what me want to know is why I'm being told so late in the game. Say
it's not late.
Something is happening.
You just hold on there. The only thing you never get is a breaking news team. A breaking news you just get.
No man. Last year I believe we were told. Yeah, we had more advanced.
Last year you never had Olympics.
Oh.
Remember, hold on. It's one small team putting the projects together and executing them.
Well,
Olympics is unprecedented. So you couldn't. Olympics done last week, you know?
Yeah,
not even last week. Olympics done this week. A Sunday Olympics done. No, we couldn't tell you before. No, they never know. So now they've turned their attention to the next project. So Michelle and Nora, I don't know why I roll up herself because I mean a simple 1-2 phone. You know what we should do, Tana? We should split Nora and Michelle. You understand? And then Nora and I have so much talk. Michelle are the strong one in the unit, you know. You understand?
And a second Nora. No.
I want to see what you hear you. Yeah, man. Anyway, whoever like Devon. Good morning, Devon. Dwayne, sorry. Dwayne, morning, Dwayne.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Good, man.
Yeah, I enjoy your taste the food already. I enjoy it already. And you know, cook it yet.
Hello, you know, say I criticize me or criticize me. I'm here judging on me, I cook. Pure card me a drop on them, Dev.
But you know me recently.
What?
Which I never know it could have been done with the seed. We could always cook the seed with the jackfruit, sweet and sour jackfruit.
Well, I know, hey, Dwayne, I was watching some videos the other day and saw the Vietnamese cooking jackfruit. I nearly drop off of the chair. Them bad but the cooking, it look good, you know, so you see, you stew the seed them?
Yes, man.
Yeah, man, it's supposed to nice, man.
Yeah, man, it's good because we generally use the seed and cook it, you know, like point of it and cook it after we eat the jackfruit.
Mm-hmm.
When how much smaller.
Yeah.
But now I recognize that you can use the meaty part of it.
What it tastes like?
I have it, as a matter of fact, somebody gave me the recipes. I have it so I can pass it on to you.
What it tastes like, Dwayne?
It tastes good.
No, but what it tastes like? What it tastes like? Don't tell me say it tastes like chicken. What it tastes like?
No, it don't taste like chicken. I don't eat meat none at all.
Mm-hmm.
Don't taste chicken, no. But I can't tell exactly what it tastes like. I don't know it have a good taste.
All right, sir. Maybe I take your word for it. It's supposed to smell nice
But
at
I
least.
can pass you on the
Yeah, man. Shot with the recipe, man.
Yeah, the recipe to you people.
Mm-hmm.
You can chat.
Yeah, man.
Okay, you know, I just want to call to say this man, you know. I know what I call to say. I recognize, you see, the Jamaican society, culture. We tend to blame every institution, whether it be the police, the soldier, the church, the government, your workplace, your boss, at a certain standard to which they themselves are not doing. In other words, when you see how they behave on the roads, you know, George, you know that bike does not stop at the stoplight?
No, sir. No, sir.
Do you know in the United States, the bike have to stay behind the car, you can't drive between the vehicles?
Yeah, but stoplight are for everybody. You know.
Yes, what am I saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, what me I say now, if you hear that, what the guy name again, the Minister of Transport,
Vaz,
about the stoplight, the entire YouTube, Facebook, radio, the normal man come down for him to kill him. And me drive behind to my man time when I'm driving at night. When I went down to the stoplight, I could barely go through the stoplight without the red light comes on.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's 3-4 vehicles behind me and they come through the same way.
Yep. Yeah.
So the Bible says in Matthew 7:1 and down that you must pick the beam out of your eye before you pick it out of anybody's eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand how you want to hold government, churches, institutions, whether public or private, as a standard to which you yourself not keep.
Yes.
And every day you come on the radio, you don't at the government, you don't at the church, you don't at... I heard you were trying to talk to a gentleman about something that was not said on a program. And he wants you to repeat the program 24/7 for him to get it. And even though you try to explain to him, he still hold on to the fact that the rail station was wrong.
Yes.
And when you check it out, their standard is so low.
Yes.
That you can't get underneath it.
Yes.
And so I guess that everybody who coming to blame, are you an honest person?
Yes. Yes.
And that's what we ask ourselves, you know.
Yes.
I don't have no problem in holding the government or the church or any institution at a high standard, but you yourself are keeping those commands.
Yes, and I support you by this, Dwayne. I've always said to people that it's so funny. Back in the day when Lara used to play for the West Indies, you have man who don't mind him picnic, who cuss Lara, say Lara down the discipline and Lara down the this and Lara down the that, you know. I ask about brethren, you look at your own life, look at how you live. Yeah? You walk out of a place, leave your 2-3 children with a woman that you don't support. You're there bar, drink rum and smoke cigarette and a cuss Lara about discipline and not living right as a professional. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, But you know, I was coming down the new highway. Just before you reach where the toll is where down in borderline of Paulus and Caroline there. And about 3-4 vehicles was behind me. And I saw this vehicle coming in the George. It moving from left to right. And when we passed it, within minutes, the vehicle becomes small, Right? One Honda Civic, the new type of Honda Civic, Me I tell you, George, I say, look there. If that the car blow it, nobody needs living up.
No.
But yet still know if Andrew do something wrong.
Yeah.
Or you say one pass or do something wrong, you take the phone and call and talk us him out.
Yeah.
You get the point?
That's how we are. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Respect. Breakdown.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:32.
Suzuki got some amazing wins for the summer. If you want something amazing, run go down a Suzuki.
Purchase a Suzuki Vitara, Grand Vitara, XL7 and the all-new 5-door Jimny from now until August 30 and enjoy $100,000 cash back. 8.5% interest rate up to 10 years. No processing fees. 7.5% off your insurance plus 1 year free scheduled service and tracking. Prices start at $4.79 million. $53,500 monthly. Conditions apply. Offer valid at Stewart's Automotive Group, Kingston and Mobay. Visit SuzukiJamaica.com for some amazing wins.
The best Burger King with the best tasting burger under the sun. You deserve the best. You are number one. Best. Flame grilling, juicy whopper, cause you deserve it. Yeah, next level, awesome. That's how we serve it. Mama menu done your way. Got the taste rules every day. Flame grilled goodness, you deserve it. Great taste, well done. More flavor, fresh fun. Burger King, best tasting burger under the sun.
And what you think? Pure water we drink. Me say a pure vibe when we touching at the street. A pure water we a drink. A pure fun, pure dance and take. Right now. A pure water we a drink. I could have room temperature. Give me one more. Give me the summer hearts are chilled one outdoor. Crisp and refreshing. We know that for sure. The water we drink is pure. Everybody know. Hey, hey. Refreshing and nice. Hey, hey. The best water you can find. Pure water we drink.
Back with us on Nationwide this morning. Tony, you were asking what books we got, the free books we got at school?
Yeah, because the 100 Jamaican Sings book by LMH Publishing Limited was in the box with my headset. So I took it out, just going through the pages, and then went online as well to see if the books I read back in infant school or primary school.
Primary school. Come on, know you talk about infant school. She go like she bright to the king from like she bright from you never used to read a book at infant school.
I used to, I'm telling you. We're online, and I'm remembering, George, the book that everybody talks about that had I am
a boy. My name is Roy. I am a girl. My name is Pam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember going through these books. You had similar ones in grade 2 as well. Mm-hmm. And I was asking you if this was the book you read too.
Yeah,
this is a book you read as well.
All of us read that. All of us read it.
I'm Pam, I'm a girl.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And there was a story we read.
See my bag.
there was a story we read about a girl. You remember the story about the girl, the greedy girl, who ate a lot of buns, and then she went to the mango tree and she was still hungry, and the mango started talking to her and tell her, listen, don't eat me now, because if you eat me I was sorry. And then she ate the mango. She couldn't talk, right? And then her father come and that was a hell of a story, Yeah, man. I think the book said, Tana, that the girl, like, she woke up, she ate a huge breakfast, and then not long after she was hungry again, and her father bought a dozen buns and give her, and she liquid a dozen buns, the man hungry and kill her, see away. And then her father said, all right, me soon come, stay right, so me soon come, I go buy some more food for you. And left, and then she go to the mango tree and see the mango them, and mango then say, oh, so you come here hungry again? Well, if you pick one away this morning, you go, sorry. Yeah, Yes, so that story, along with the story about Zachariah Z.
Zachariah Z.
He saw a dumpling in his bed. He started to eat, but it stuck in his teeth. And so that's why they call him Zachariah Dumpling Head. Yeah, man, that was bad. You remember Henny Penny? You read Henny Penny?
Henny Penny.
Yeah.
No.
Henny Penny was a chicken, a story about a chicken. Then there was one about Silly Billy. You read Silly Billy?
Silly Billy sounds familiar.
Silly Billy, man. Silly Billy went to work, Tana. And they paid him like they gave him a chicken. And the chicken got away. So him go home and him tell him mother, say, boy, them pay me a chicken, but the chicken get away. So she say, you fool, next time them pay you, put a pay in your pocket. So he went to work.
How?
He went to work and they paid him some milk. So he followed the instruction and put the milk in his pocket. So of course he never wanted milk run out. So this was day after day, him just do things and it was silly. So yeah, Silly Billy. And I think she said put something on your head. So they paid him something. So she said, oh, idiot boy, use your head the next time, the man. So they paid him something and he put it on his head because she said use his head. And while walking with it on his head, it got away from him. I think it was a chicken that got away. So yeah, Silly Billy was another one.
Shelly and B here on YouTube, George, and listeners is saying the Catwoman and the spinning wheel. Yeah.
Classic.
Yep.
Catwoman and the spinning wheel. And they put what? Salt and pepper in the skin. That was a classic story.
That was a good one.
Yeah, man.
And Suzette Clark is saying as Fat Girl and the Mangoes. That was the title. Yeah, I don't remember Fat Girl and the Mangoes, but yeah, Catwoman and the Spinning Wheel.
And there was another one about a shortcut. Because there's a story we read about a shortcut, the boy taking a shortcut. And he was warned not to take the shortcut. And like he was walking through the shortcut and something happened and he had to run. I can't remember that one, but there was that one.
Yeah, I wonder what... the primary school children, what books they're reading now. If they still collate these kind of stories in one book and issue them or sell them, what stories are they reading now? Because those stories, classic.
I remember.
You just never forget them.
I remember there was a science book we used to use in grade 3. It was a red book, science. That was the first book we were taught about levers. So they told you that the can opener at your yard is a lever based on how it works. So I learned in by reading that book.
I wonder if it's the same book that I learned about what parts of the body was like ball and socket and
same book.
Maybe that book.
I teach you about pulley. So they were showing you about the pulley. So you pull up a bucket on the thing. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this a book as well, Rose Chin? Emilia Bedelia? That was a book?
That one.
Yeah, if it's a
look at that one. Overseer Brown say Androcles. It's not Androcles, Androcules and the Lion. That was a classic book. Let me tell you about that one quickly, Tano. Androcules and the Lion. So this guy, he walking through the forest and he saw a lion with a thorn in its paw, like the front paw. So he forces a lion and a lion crying, and he don't want to approach the lion because but the lion in distress. So the lions, he both afraid of each other. Him afraid of the lion afraid of him. But he went and he removed the thorn from the lion's paw. And the lion never forgot it. And the lion became his pet.
Aww.
Yeah, man. Androcules and the lion. Yeah. What you say? Androcles? Be remembered as Androcules. It's Androcles. It would stand to make sense because it's Greek. So, Heracles, Androcles, Socrates, Androcles. I remember it as Androcules. Keep on saying it's Androcles.
Nads J is saying, George, that the name of the book you're talking about is You and Your Granny. That's the name of the book?
No, go so. She's messing with me. But I call her on the line, Joseph. Joseph, you remember the book about Joseph and the coat? Joseph Court, Joseph Morning.
I remember that one.
You remember that one?
Yeah, that's a biblical story.
Isn't that? No, there wasn't near that. No? Wasn't near that a book? It was made into a little book for primary school, man.
There was a book as well.
Yeah, man.
The king and the cloth that was in imaginary something. I don't know. Like the clothes, imaginary.
No, man, you're talking about Emperor's New Clothes. And that you're talking about a different something that.
Oh,
Morning, Joseph. What are you saying?
That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's Joseph and this coat of many colors.
Many colors. And him brother them bad mind him for the coat. Yeah,
yes,
man.
Oh, yeah, it's two different stories.
Two things from the Olympics. the one there that I saw from the Maverick about where he said that somebody told him that the thousandth of a second tiebreaker rule that shouldn't apply to the allocation of medals. You ever heard that?
I heard that it was said on a particular station.
But could we get some clarity on that? Because
there's no need for clarity. Remember, when the point was raised to me, I said to somebody, hold on there. Somebody's here telling you that the thousandth of a second separator between Lyles and Kishin should not apply because that's not the rule. Yet the Jamaicans who are in Paris and who cited the rule book when they tried to appeal Natoya Gould's placing in the 800-meter semifinal, and who filed 2 appeals to get her in the final on the grounds that the rules were not being properly applied. They don't know that. And they are so dunce to that they didn't appeal on those grounds, yet somebody here knows that and it is catching on that the rule was not properly applied. I said, come on, that alone should tell you that that is not true. And
No, George.
You mean by no? Hold on. What do you mean by no? Again. Hold on. Look at it practically. You are in Paris. The people in Paris are eminently experienced. Maurice Wilson, Lord Low Watts, all of the people. And I'm saying to you that so for instance, you don't know anything about the rules, but you are going by how people who should know act. Somebody sits here and tells you that this rule should not apply. The people who are in Paris do not appeal on that grounds. Does not tell you that perhaps it is that the rule is okay after all. What do you mean by no? It's common sense.
Our administrators have been bungling time and time.
Come on, man. No cross me spirit, Joseph. Tell me foolishness. Of course. So what are you saying? Hold on, man. One analyst here says they think that this rule should not apply. They think. The people in Paris who know the rules and who have the rule book with them didn't see that as grounds to appeal. Does that not say to you then that maybe what the man think doesn't apply? That's all I'm saying. Tell me so that no makes sense.
It's not sufficient. I would want to see them point out, hey, what you're saying is nonsense because this is what the rule says, and you can refer to it.
Why was the rule then used for other races? You know how many races I read the results where thousandths of a second separated the people based on placing? Tell me now.
But remember, there's a difference between, he said that it's allowed if it's to separate you to move on to another race. But if it's a matter of allocation of medals, it should not be used.
Well, I'm telling you that based on how the authorities in Paris appeal the rule, based on how not one country whose athletes suffered as a result of the rule being applied, well, not suffered, not one country whose athlete was victim of the application of the rule appealed that ruling. I'm working with them to say that the rule was very much applied correctly. That's all I'm saying.
All right, but I would want to see it in what the rule book actually says.
But me not understand why. But go on, Joseph. go on. Yeah, kill me this morning. Go on.
I mean, these guys make so many mistakes.
No, but Joseph, wait, walk with me, Joseph. I'm saying to you, one person here, said they think the people in Paris never appealed. No other country. And I'm saying to you that there were several races. Remember me, don't hear I read the results to me now. There's several races where people were separated by thousandth of a second, including in the award of medals. Not one country appealed to say, hey, the rule is not correct. Why then are you giving room to the opinion of one man to say, well, based on the one man raising this point, I believe the rule should be explained because I don't think it's right. When nobody else of the 200 countries who competed at the Olympics and the many athletes who did not get medals because of thousandth of second, nobody appealed. So why you think he's right? I don't understand it.
I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying I would want to see the black and white clarification. Anyway, the other point now, the muscle memory that what's his name spoke about the
Fakishian? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically, the coach is the one who's been recommending or advising the athlete to run in that manner. Full force for 60, 70 meters?
Yeah.
And then just shut down.
Right.
So I would like to hear a response from the coach. What he thinks about Gatlin's thoughts on that.
Brilliant point, no. That no you talk about point. No you talk about point, no, Joseph. That I am agreeing with you 100%. Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Take care.
Yeah, man. Respect.
Done.
Yeah, man. But it's, again, this thing. I heard it was said that somebody said, well, the rule is blah. But again, this just goes to the fact that it made me feel this way because it's always a case where those of you who are inside the crucible, people outside always represent themselves as knowing more than you who are in the crucible. And I'm saying there were many countries, many events where athletes were separated by thousandths of a second, in the same way that Kishin was separated from Noah Lyles by 3,000ths of a second. Yeah? Nobody filed any complaint that, look, this is not the rule to separate the athletes. So why we think the one opinion of the one man right? Come on, man. Using a brain. Jeez. Birthday time.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:47.
I think of love and I think of life and joy. Always around. Life can be such a sweet paradise and joy. Always around. I live through love and I live through life and joy. Always around. Life can be such a sweet paradise and joy. Always around. Things will come and things will go. All love will last forever, you know. I live through love and I live through life and joy. Always around. Just thinking of you, it's such a sweet paradise.
Tell the one man who believes that the rule does not apply to go file a petition and lobby the IOC to change all of the rules from the Olympics because his rule book says the rule was incorrectly applied across the whole Olympics. Foolishness.
Time now for your birthdays. Happy birthday greetings going out to our friends on Facebook. Happy birthday, Annette Lamoth, Dwayne Larmond, Ruth Bennett. Happy birthday to you, Kelly Cunningham, Suzanne Gordon. It's also the birthday of Kim Parry, Patricia Gaspard, Charles Lewis. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Jess Ica, Charlene Roberts, Raphael Lewis. Happy birthday. To Stalisha Everfresh.
Go again? Say what now?
Happy birthday to someone who calls himself on Facebook Stalisha Everfresh. Happy birthday to you. Hope you have a great day. Happy birthday greetings also going out to Marjorie Barrett. And William is telling us that the birthday wishes are coming from him, her son. She lives in the States, but she's currently on vacation in Jamaica. And William says, tell her to let me know when she's ready to vacation to another country. You hear that, Marjorie? If you're listening this morning, William is saying to you, tell her to let me know when she's ready to vacation to another country. So anywhere you want to go, William will purchase that ticket, ensure that your accommodations are well in order and everything that you need in your destination. He's also sending birthday shout out to our colleague at the Radio Jamaica News Center. That's Raquel Porter. I think she's over there at RJR.
Raquel?
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
I saw
to
her
you,
on Monday.
Raquel.
Happy birthday, Raquel.
Happy birthday to you, Raquel.
Very good reporter. Nice girl.
Yeah,
man.
Journalist of the Year. When
Yes.
was it? It wasn't last year. It was 2020.
Year before last?
One or two?
Yeah, Jovan was last year.
Right.
Yeah.
But she is a journalist of the year. She's birthday twinning with William's mom. He's also sending happy birthday greetings to Ramiro Thompson. Says Ramiro is his neighbor. Well, was my neighbor growing up, and he's still my brother today. So best wishes to you, Ramiro. Happy birthday to you. And the final one from William. Happy birthday to Patrina Smallhorn. Her birthday. Oh, so happy birthday when it comes. Okay, we share tomorrow then, William, since her birthday is tomorrow. But a shout out to you. A special shout out to you, Patrina. We'll wish you happy birthday again tomorrow. Checking to see if there are any more birthdays in here. No. Going on over to YouTube. Okay, so news commentator J.A. just sending happy birthday greetings and anniversary greetings to everybody who's celebrating today.
Nice.
Yeah, join in that one. And Cedric Robinson sending happy birthday greetings to Carol Robinson. Happy birthday to you, Carol, coming from Cedric over here on YouTube. Hope you'll have an amazing day. And that seems to be all the birthdays. Yeah. So if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday. If you're celebrating your anniversary, happy anniversary to you as well. I do see two final birthdays. Carl Allen sending happy birthday greetings to King David. Happy birthday to you, King David. And Linda Ming sending belated birthday greetings as well to King David. Oh, so is it that his birthday was today, or is today, or was it tomorrow? In any case, a special one to you, King David. If it was yesterday, hope you had a good one. If it's today, hope you'll have a good one.
Yeah, man, just like that, okay? June!
It works. That's about it for the show. Sending you out with good vibes. Thanks so much for tuning in to Nationwide this morning. NTM, The Big Show. Thanks so much to our technical operator and the musical maestro. Yeah, pull a good one to send us off this morning, Jermaine King. Thanks to our super producer, Michelle McCrae Smith, our super editor, Kimon Thompson in the newsroom. Up next, the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton, and at 10, Cliffy's Online. Will it be you this morning? Or...
Please see the press for details.
All right. I'm Tona Thomas.
And I'm George.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.